Jorge's like,
we are all set. How you feeling, my friend?
I'm feeling good. How are you feeling?
I survived the hurricane, so it's all good. We're all good.
It's an interesting combination.
Everything's fine. Hurricanes and earthquakes. Earthquakes, fine. Hurricanes, not so fine.
Yeah, earthquakes, we know. We kind of, we felt those before, a little five-ish, right around that area.
Did you feel it?
I didn't. Well, no. I
Neither
was in San Diego, so I wouldn't have.
I didn't feel it either. My parents are in Santa Barbara, which is, 30 miles
from
Ojai?
Yeah.
They didn't feel it. So it obviously wasn't
it's a conspiracy.
too crazy. Maybe fake news that the earthquake never happened. But everything's fine. We had a hurricane / tropical storm / earthquake on the weekend.
It's kind of funny.
That's pretty normal.
It was Sunday morning I woke up. And I don't know what I was expecting. But you don't really know what to expect. You just kind of, at least for me, I kept there was definitely some curiosity, like, what the hell's going on?
For sure.
Tropical storm. Yeah. What does that even mean? How long is it going to be around? What are they talking about with all the flooding?
Should I be worried?
It's going to rain as much potentially in certain areas in a couple of hours than it would for a year or 6 months.
Right.
I'm trying to put all these puzzle pieces together. I wake up Sunday and it's sprinkling. And I don't know why in my head, I was like, here, they did it again. They overhyped it. It rained a ton over.
Did you get a lot of rain?
Yeah, we got a lot of rain.
I did not.
Okay.
Now, it rained. Don't get me wrong. It definitely rained, and there were little 10-minute periods here or there where it kind of rained hard a little bit. Down. And again, I'm down in South Orange County, and I guess up here in L.A., and the closer you got to the mountains, the worse the rain was, et cetera, et cetera. It was rainy. The wind kind of blew.
Not that windy.
That's about what
not
it
that
was.
windy.
There's some junk on the ground this morning, some leaves.
Mm-hmm. How long? So when you say it,
that's it.
It rained.
Yeah.
Did it rain for a while?
Off and on.
Okay.
Like it rained for 20 minutes, and then it wouldn't for 3 hours.
I would
and then
say
it would rain for 20 minutes again.
San Diego, a solid, probably 6-7 hours of just a constant rain.
Nothing like that.
Now, it wasn't like it was, pouring outside, but it was just a constant, it was a good amount of rain.
Susan and I get up yesterday morning, and we're going to go grab a cup of coffee, and so we're on our way, and I said, hey, let's run down to the beach real quick, and I want to see the surf, because I thought, it's a hurricane. I figured there would be surf.
Bigger waves, yeah.
Go down there, and the parking lot's closed. You can't park your car.
Yep.
The beach is closed, basically.
I think the whole coastline, they did that,
right.
Everything.
It looked like Lake Michigan. There was nothing there. There are a bunch of guys in the water on their boards waiting for it, but we stood there for, 15 or 20 minutes. I didn't see one wave other than the things kind of slapping on the shore. I'm like, well, this is a bust. And then we drive home, and it started to lightly rain. It's
so funny.
I don't know.
Well, aren't you lucky?
Was it bad at your house?
Yeah, it was raining the entire day.
All day.
It was raining the entire day. It rained
like
a lot the entire day. There's actually a couple trees that are down by where I live, mostly in like medians and stuff where they're not really rooted into the grounds. Like no big palm trees or anything like that. But yeah, we had some of those trees.
Tomato
fall down.
Tomato plant. Just
so not the parking lot we park in, the other one over here by the hotel.
West.
There was one, they have those little, almost like saplings, up, like the lining that road that you drive in there. There was one that was snapped. One. There's like 25 of them lined up, and there's one that right near the top, like the top 10% had snapped off. I'm like, all right, well.
You just stopped, turn your hazards on?
Wasn't that bad. The whole piece that had snapped off was like 2 feet long. Like, all right.
Well, I think we created, this is natural, especially because, again, we go back to this. If you wouldn't have told me that, if there was no news about it, and if you wouldn't have told me this is the first tropical storm in 80-something years or whatever it is,
fine.
If you said nothing to me, then I would have probably just, my vision in my head is like, well, it's kind of a random August to have some rain. But because
it's a little windy out too.
I think because I watched I watched so much news and everything else. And then, listen, the idea in the storm, you go out, there definitely is flooding, there definitely is. It's not the amount of rain, like it's not your typical storm. It's how much rain comes down over a period of time, everything else. But I think I'm with you. I kind of put it in my head like,
listening to the news, you would have thought that we were getting ready for Armageddon. And the only picture that made me go, oh, wow, were the pictures of Dodger Stadium where the parking lot was under.
Crazy.
That was the one that's like, okay, that clearly up here got a lot more rain than down in my neighborhood. We didn't have any rain.
Good decision to go doubleheader on Saturday?
Seemed like they got that right. Seemed like they got that right.
You know what's crazy? Okay, so like like my family on the East Coast was asking about if I'm ready. Yes, I've been through I've been through tropical storms before. It's happened. But the idea that so why is everyone stocking up on milk? Milk will spoil if the lights go out. You know that, right? So it's like, why are we stocking up on milk?
Maybe you have kids, babies?
But to have everybody
formula.
stock up on milk is a ridiculous thing.
I'm speculating.
So, my sister was texting me. She's like, "Oh, did you get milk and bread?" I'm like, "I haven't had milk in years. Why would I stock up on milk for this?"
Well, it's only the
storm?
2%. Everyone was only getting the 2%.
Remember
the whole
people
milk
stocked
behind.
up on toilet paper?
Yep.
During the pandemic?
Yep.
It was like that was the thing. Stock up on toilet paper.
Buddy of mine that I do.
Costco, they were lines specific for just toilet paper.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like groupthink.
Buddy of mine that I do the Locked On Rams podcast with, Doug McCain, said, just so we're all clear, we had a hurricane and an earthquake the same day before Shohei Ohtani played in the playoff game.
It's a good observation.
I'm like, yep, that's
stats for the stats.
Los Angeles had a hurricane and an earthquake on the same day, and the Shohei Ohtani-led Angels are still looking for their first playoff appearance.
Is it fair to say, so is that it? We're done? Is it gone?
I think so.
It's past us now?
Yes,
Well, the
it's
hurricane
past.
portion, the earthquake portion is always in play, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully not.
Kind of going up towards, yeah.
Crazy. A little breaking news right now. Breaking news is brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change on 710 ESPN, home of the 15-minute drive-through oil change. USC is apparently hiring a new athletic director. Nicole Auerbach from The Athletic says that USC is hiring former Washington athletic director Jen Cohen as the school's new athletic director. Of course, they will kick off their 2023 football season this Saturday at the Coliseum against San Jose State, and Jen Cohen will have her hand on the wheel of the athletic department when they do that. So they needed to replace, obviously,
Mike Bone.
The outgoing athletic director who left rather ignominiously along the way. Jen Cohen got the new job, Slee.
Yeah, and think of the timing, too. When he left, obviously just a lot of question marks. More just I'm talking about the football program. Then there's question marks about, oh, my gosh, is this another USC situation? They've had these situations in the past. They can't turn the page or the chapter. This one I find interesting more for the fact that she was the athletic director for Washington, and Washington, Oregon just announced
they're coming with.
They're joining the same conference that SC is at. And I don't think either of us can sit here and talk about the resume or something like that. But like you said, football starts on Saturday. So they obviously were trying to get this squared away before the college football season starts.
Here's what they need to do. They need to keep the football program doing what it did when Mike Bone hired Lincoln Riley. They need to let the rest of the stuff settle down and get good at the things that SC is known for being good at. Be good at football. Be good at track. Be good at baseball. Compete in college basketball.
Volleyball. Go down the list.
Get your stuff together. And by the way, can we not, if we never hear Jen Cohen's name over the next 6 months, 9 months, or a year, perfect. Perfect. That just get back on your feet and let all the noise around the athletic department kind of quiet down a little bit, because SC's, most of their noise has not been super positive noise when it comes to athletic department stuff.
So I guess there's going to be a 1 p.m. news conference to announce her hire. She had been at Washington for 24 years, operating the athletic director role since 2016. So bringing a ton of experience as well. But 24 years with the university, and since 2016 as the athletic director.
AD, good job, not a good job. I have two buddies that are athletic directors at the college level. And there's a part of the job that I think would be really fun. You're constantly around athletics and athletes, which I think would be fun. You get to attend and see games and be a participant in trying to build successful programs and all that kind of stuff. That part sounds awesome. The part where you have to go around and deal and collect money all the time seems less awesome. And I think that's more of the job than, hey, we need a new volleyball coach. I'm going to go out and scour the country for volleyball coaches. I think that, hey, would you like to make a donation? That would be the thing that would just be incredibly tiresome, I think.
Says, no, I'm with you on that. I think anything, like any type of work that you do, it's the asking for money part, which is the business side. That you're like, I don't want to do that.
Makes it all go?
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
No.
Can I just have a mic?
So when you weren't batting down in San Diego, how was the rest of your weekend?
Weekend was good. It's kind of funny. We were describing last week what an IPA guy is.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know this.
Emily, that's your cue.
I did not know this. I have a close friend of mine that's very IPA guy and acts kind of like the IPA guy that
Does
you described.
Does he have a guitar?
Have you seen The Godfather?
I don't know why those things go together in your
Yeah, I
mind.
don't know either.
No, they
I
go
think
in
it's
your
more
okay.
the
It's
voice.
every
I think it's
person
more
that
the voice.
It's the voice, but it's also the film bro is also an IPA bro who's also rides a bike, who also is a kayaker.
The bike and the kayak, I get. The beard, I get.
Yeah, the beard, the
oils,
hair.
I get.
Yeah, he's got all that.
The tattoos, perhaps.
I go
got a
to
couple
plenty of
tattoos.
things at the Alamo Draft House where everyone gets IPAs.
Okay.
They all like The Godfather.
Do you remember? But I think everybody likes The Godfather.
I was going to say, like, if there
ever.
were a movie that not a lot of people liked, that they had decided to stay, like, if they all had this odd fascination with Jurassic Park.
Sure.
Okay, should I change it to
that's
The Fight
weird.
Club? Fight Club
Fight
works
Club.
better.
Club
But
much
also,
better.
Might better. By the way, another good movie. I mean, a lot of people.
It is
like
a good
Fight Club
movie
as well.
It is a good movie.
everyone thinks The Godfather's the peak of cinema, but okay, sure.
Emily, can I ask a question? Honesty time. Did you not like The Godfather?
I refuse to comment.
Yes, you didn't like The Godfather.
Oh, no.
All right.
I think it's fine. I don't think it's the
You
peak
and
of
Funches
cinema.
should start a podcast.
I think it's fine is the most artful way of saying,
I
that
didn't
movie
like it.
sucks, right?
Yeah.
I like Godfather 2 better.
Okay. That's a reasonable opinion. That's fine.
Do you remember when I described a college friend of mine that just like found a way to take the territory of the couch and wasn't even a San Diego State University student?
Sure.
Remember
Oh,
him?
yeah.
Yes.
His name was Trey.
Trey.
Hung out with Trey on Saturday.
nice.
Trey's an IPA guy.
Is he?
And Trey,
Does he own a residence or does he sleep on people's couches still?
he's still actually, there's a little bit of that.
Which is also very IPA guy.
It is. You're not wrong.
As
You're not
part
wrong
of
about
his
that.
personality,
Sure.
there's definitely, hey, anybody on that couch?
How's Trey doing?
Trey's doing good.
Good.
Trey was actually on the East Coast for probably 10, 11 years, so he's back now in San Diego. So Trey and I went to a couple breweries. There's a really, really good brewing spot called Culture Brewing. There's another place called Pizza Port. So there's like
I know Pizza Port.
kind of a couple of these nice breweries. So I go and I tell the girl, I'm like, hey, I'm down to drink. Give me a suggestion. Lager, Pilsner. I'm probably going to drink some of that. He's, I can't do those. I want an IPA. Where the hell did that come from? So he gets IPAs.
Did his voice go down like that?
Yeah, like everything changed. Everything changed. The chest went out a little bit. I'm
like it.
What the hell's going on here?
Pauly D.
He was. I don't think Pauly D. I don't think they're having IPAs.
Pauly D would be a hard seltzer guy.
Yeah.
For sure.
Definitely a hard seltzer. So
a high
he's
noon guy.
so he's having IPAs, and I was like, I want to try his IPA. Just want to, there's.
Did it bring you a little taste?
No, actually, I took a sip of his.
Oh, okay.
He takes a sip of mine. He goes, "Oh, can't do that. Can't." I'm like, "What the hell? What is this? Is this the definition of an IPA?" IPA guys look down on pilsners. They look down on lagers.
Yes.
They look down on all these other great beers out there. They're just a little bit lighter and a little bit more refreshing.
that actually go down easier.
He's like, "I can't do it. I don't know what to tell you. I just can't
Doesn't
do
taste
it."
like anything.
I'm like, "All right, well, never mind then."
So
I
are we
got
done
it.
with Trey? Will you never see him again?
No, we'll see him again. It's ironic that Emily broke down an IPA guy, and a couple days later, everything she
you're
said,
gonna see them everywhere.
everything she said, kind of fit the bill.
Except for the Godfather part.
Except for the
Like
Godfather.
that her IPA guy
I think I'm right.
is well. I'm not saying that they're not strong movie opinion guy, but I don't think the Venn diagram of Godfather and IPA guy I don't feel overlaps as much as you do. The rest of it, I'm with you.
Okay.
We just gotta pick a
Sure,
different movie.
sure.
Look at this guy drinking lagers. I'm like, Trey, it's fine, man. There's a lot of people drinking lagers.
The whole bar.
Yeah,
85% of this place is
everybody that
drinking.
doesn't have a beard down to the middle of their chest is drinking lagers along the way. Dodgers had their winning streak come to an end, and then they started another one all over again. Little bad news on the mound, though. That's coming up next. It's Trav and Slee, 710 ESPN. Football season is just about to kick off, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to win all season long. Because right now, when you bet on a Super Bowl winner, you can get bonus bets every time they win during the regular season. So visit FanDuel.com/play and start earning bonus bets with America's #1 sportsbook. That's FanDuel.com/play.
ESPN.
DeAndre showing us some pictures from his neck of the woods where there was all sorts of water.
Yeah, he said Palm Springs.
Yeah.
That's. By the way, is this happen where I think I felt like I watched so much news over the last 24 hours. Now I feel like because here's what happened. You heard me right there when DeAndre is here. I'm like, you saw the trajectory of it. It didn't go coastal.
You turned into
San
Fritz
Diego
Coleman.
and started going inland. I'm like, shut up, Al. You watch one YouTube clip.
You sounded
with
informed. You sounded informed to me. Yeah, I guess along the coast it wasn't as bad.
Yeah.
And we didn't get much, but DeAndre, those pictures at Dodger Stadium were crazy.
Yeah, that is.
It looked like you just filled up that entire bowl. Not the stadium, but everything around
Parking.
it. And look, having been to Dodger Stadium a million times in my life, doesn't it feel like it's kind of tiered? Like, I guess that's why it's all around the edge like that, but it was... I was surprised it would collect like that.
Even the water's having a hard time getting out of there right now.
Yeah.
It's still flooded.
The water's like, Jesus, what are we doing here?
This stadium's been here 65 years. We haven't figured this out. How we
Get a
out
couple
of here?
ushers?
My goodness.
I'm sure, though, if you took a picture right now, it might look a little different just because of the way that it's on a hill and it can probably run off, but it's still crazy.
You said your neighborhood, Em, was not too bad?
Not too bad. So there's a lot of dips in the roads in my neighborhood. So like there are like a lot of places where people will scrape the bottom of their cars, that kind of stuff. But those are filled with water. There's a lot of like standing water around. So it's not ideal, but it's not unsimilar to what happened earlier in the year with that winter storm that we had.
Yep.
So it's not crazy, but there is some down trees or some other stuff. So stay safe out there if you're on the
Your
roads.
party got canceled.
Yeah, my party got
Your slip and
canceled.
slide party was no more.
Got rescheduled. To this weekend.
Rescheduled. Okay.
Yes.
So
we're
you just pushed it a week.
Yeah, just pushed it a weekend. Well, because everyone was like, I don't know.
People who had tickets, it's not canceled, it's rescheduled.
Well, people were like, I don't know. I don't want to be on the roads. And I was just like, yeah, just be safe. No one on the roads at this point in time.
How was your party, Jorge?
Party was cool.
Yeah.
It was a little,
Little
gloomy.
5-year-old birthday party?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It was chill, kick back.
What'd you guys do?
It was just, a water slide for the kids. We had just pizza, spaghetti, kinds of she made Maita chose the menu.
Okay.
She's like, I want pizza and spaghetti, her two favorite things. I'm like,
Perfect.
done. Yeah, and then a couple beers, family, kids.
It's awesome.
It was just simple. It was
Did
fun.
you eat any spaghetti on the road like Emily?
No, I did not.
When did I do that?
No, I thought
She did spaghetti
in the pool.
poolside.
Poolside.
Oh,
That's
poolside.
right.
I was
Yeah.
like,
That's my
I
bad.
couldn't. I would never do spaghetti on the road.
By the way,
Poolside. That's my mistake.
when he said that, I was like, where the hell was I for this story? I just see
No. I
you're
was like, might as well.
you're using your knee and just
Okay, well, no. Here's how practically this would work. Okay, let me just throw this out there.
Workshopping?
So, no, you have a red Solo cup
Hypothetically.
or something equivalent. You put that in the cup holder.
Okay.
You have a fork, and then you twirl and get it a nice tight twirl while you're driving, and then chomp, put it back in. So you have it's all stable enough. So I haven't done this.
that didn't take
be-
long to
but I
come up with a
could do it.
solution.
It couldn't be very heavily sauced, though, right? We'd have to be fairly light on the sauce,
Light
or else it'd be
sauce.
splat. You'd have to turn on your windshield wipers.
Exactly.
It'd be on the inside.
Or your shirt, have like
Yeah,
a napkin on your
Parmesan
shirt.
cheese to your right, red hot
Yeah,
chili, the whole
exactly.
setup.
Did you watch Winning Time last night?
I'm behind. I'm
You're
behind
behind?
one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got to
so
get
I'm
back
2
in
weeks
there.
behind.
You may be
I'll
be
be
part of the
behind
reason
for a
the
minute.
show may not last much longer if you don't.
Come on,
get caught
Jorge.
up.
Did you
gotta
watch
do better.
yesterday?
I did. Emily and I both saw it, and I think we had. It's interesting because she's about half my age and did not live through the Magic and Bird era. As someone that did, we're seeing it a little bit differently, and we're experiencing it differently. She likes it more than I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's because I know some of these things through osmosis from living here for a couple of years, obviously working at the station. A lot of people who know the history of the Lakers, so I think I get that a little bit in through osmosis. But this episode is a Larry Bird episode. It's almost exclusively Larry Bird, which for me, again, I don't really know anything about his story. I know who he is. I know he played for the Celtics. I know that big story. He played Magic in the national championship game. I know that story. I don't know the intricacies of his life.
Sure.
So that kind of stuff is really interesting to me, even though everyone hates him because he was so good.
We hate him because he was that
He's
good.
the man.
Exactly. It's
Because
kind of like
he
hating
was-
Tom Brady.
So I did a Larry Bird deep dive this morning just because I started thinking about, do you know how many for his career?
Okay.
How many 3-point attempts per game do you think Larry Bird averaged? Keep in mind, he's one of the great shooters of all time.
I was going to say, I think it was just because of the era, not that many, right? I'll say a game he's taken 3 or 4.
2. 2. 1.9 3-point attempts per game. That if he played now, he's taking 12 a game.
Wow.
You know, it's insane. So
there's awful shooters taking 12 a game.
That's what I'm saying, and he's one of the great shooters
Yeah.
of all time. So anyway, I kind of went down that rabbit hole. I like Winning Time. I don't love it. Last year, I'm like, I love this show. I couldn't wait for Sunday night to roll around to get to see that next episode. This is, oh yeah, Winning Time's on. Let's flip it on. It's not that you're anticipating every episode.
I like this. I like the show a lot, and I really hope it has more seasons because I want to see how this all plays out. I am reading the Showtime book right now too, which is a really good book so far. I'm like 50 pages in, but I think that I just want this to continue because I think it's so interesting for me personally. I don't know how interesting it is for nationally for everybody out there, but
season
I like
one
it.
was interesting for everybody. So for it to
Felt like
have, it did. It
The
felt
ratings
like,
were not.
Was it
what
just because
they
we're in the belly of the beast?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not surprised to hear that because we're in LA, because we work on this station, because almost without exception, everybody in this building is a Laker
because Winning
fan.
Time was scratching you a check under the table.
Whatever it might have been. That just felt weird. If you're in, I don't know, Portland, Oregon, are you feeling it like that? I don't know. Maybe not. If
I also
you're in
think
Chicago, maybe not.
One of the main things that's maybe getting me a little tired of the season a little bit sometimes is that they're trying to do too many storylines in each episode. I think they need to
They're
kind
not
of
focusing on one character and this
so
is
it's
driving it.
This one, without any spoilers, it's a lot of Bird, a little Magic, and then about other half is Bus, and then a little other stuff too. So I think it would have been better to separate a little bit.
There's even more because there's the Bird story, and there's the Magic Cookie
Nixon.
story. There's the Magic Norm Nixon story. There's the Magic Jerry Buss story. There's the Jerry Buss Jeannie Buss story.
So
Pat
too
Riley,
many.
There's
Westhead.
Pat Riley and Paul Westhead butting heads. There were 6 different things going on in the show.
It needs
yesterday.
to condense and go more in depth about smaller portions of time.
This is it's not the best example, but I told you, I mentioned I was watching Suits for a little bit. I think I'm out of it.
You punted.
I think I'm done. But there was something about Suits that it only really had 2 or 3 storylines max.
Yeah.
Like it's these characters, and maybe they're going to leave this main character for a few minutes, but they're going right back to it. That's a little bit, how do I build momentum with 5 or 6 different storylines? That's interesting.
There was.
I'll
a lot
watch
to
it tonight,
The
by the way,
Larry
either
Bird
way.
portion of it is terrific.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It's the guy. I don't know who's ever in charge of casting for that show.
It's perfect.
Fantastic.
They're so good at their job because the guy that plays Larry Bird, looks like Larry Bird. And I don't know if he's tall, so maybe he was a basketball player. He can play basketball.
Shoot, but does he, the little bit of the...
You know, sometimes when you have a sports movie and you have the actor do the thing, and then there's a cut, and then you'll see the ball get caught, or the ball go through the hole, or through the rim, or the ball drops into the hole in golf, or there's a base hit up the middle. There's no cuts. This guy's shooting the ball. You see it leave his hand. You see it go through. Dude can shoot, and he's got the Larry Bird form. It's fun to watch just from a. Where did you find that guy, and why wasn't he a real NBA player? Because he can play like Larry
And we
Bird.
all know one of the things you love most is actors who get the role of a quarterback and have never thrown a football in their life.
Look, Winning Time, A+ across the board on
Sure.
that. All of these guys not only look
Magic's
like
character,
they can
sure.
play basketball.
Yeah.
They can shoot a basketball. Think about, hey, I need a guy that's really tall, that looks like Larry Bird, and oh, by the way, can actually play. There can't be 5 of those guys on earth.
Also, by the way, the casting director is Francine Meisler. So if she's
Francine, keep it up.
Yeah,
great
she's doing
job. Great job.
I'll catch
to
up
you,
tonight.
Francine. Yeah.
And here's the funny thing: I'm not out. Like,
no,
I'm going to watch the whole season.
but can I tell you something? The fact that you didn't watch it last night, I think, speaks
it
to how
says
much
something.
you're in.
Yeah, I think it says
You're
so.
not
And
out, but you're not in.
I think last year too, there was much more, maybe anticipation. Like, all right, I got to wait a week. Now it's, I guess, like we just did. Oh yeah, I forgot to watch Winning Time.
Part of that has to do with the inability for the actors and the writers and the directors to be able to do press to lead into this. There's no podcast about this. There's no appearances for any cast, writers, directors, and that's really what's.
You're not wrong
thing.
about that. That certainly does help. But for us who were in the way that we were in last year, I think there's. Hopefully, we get a season 3. I'm going to watch it. I'm in on the show, but it does feel like it's hit a point where it's like, okay, come on, let's pick up the pace.
I had all my graphs up yesterday for the hurricane. I didn't have time for this.
Your models. I believe they're called models.
I didn't
in the
have
weather
time
game.
for Winning Time.
You had to model the tropical
Every
storm.
hour there was updates.
Absolutely. All right. Tony Gonsolin probably done for the season. What does that mean for the Dodgers' postseason run? That's coming up next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN.
All right, we are experiencing a roadway safety crisis, and we need your help. Join the Go Safely movement and share your thoughts on what actions are needed to make our roads safer. The Go Safely California is really trying to work with local residents here in Los Angeles, and we really, really can use your feedback. It literally only takes a couple of minutes. You just take a brief survey. That survey will help come up with ideas of making the road safer. Go to the website, gosafelyca.org, gosafelyca.org. That's gosafelyca.org. Take that brief survey. Go Safely California from the California Office of Traffic Safety.
Off food at your house twice in one day? I don't know.
Great question.
Travis and Sliwa
On 710 ESPN.
Bergman, by the way, is deep into Suits. 6
really?
seasons.
Well, he must have like an executive producer credit because he takes it personally when people don't like it.
Well, here's what happened. I didn't know any of this happened, but I saw him come up here during the break, and he pointed at me, and I didn't know what he was pointing at, so I pointed at him.
Okay.
And then he just walked off. And then I looked at my text, and he says, I'm on season 6 on Suits. Keep going. He was motivating, trying to get me to get in.
Okay, I'm going to turn this on you.
Yeah.
Why? Like, you watched a full season, so you obviously liked it enough to go through. Give me the pitch. Never mind 60, but what about it is it that I would like, potentially?
Who cares?
That you would like?
Yeah.
Storylines are pretty good. They're pretty good. I don't want to over
Pretty
sell
good.
it.
Interesting, exciting, titillating. Like, what are we talking about?
I would say kind of a combination of exciting, some interesting. I think
some Zastro time.
I think there's a lot of really good looking people on the show as well.
That's a good sales pitch.
And I will say this:
so the Larry Bird character is not in it.
I will say this: the good looking people on the show, but it's also not one of those shows where it's like 80% of the show people are just hooking up.
Yeah,
it's not that. I don't know. That probably hurts the pitch here.
Yeah, I don't want to watch it either.
That hurt the pitch.
Yeah, I'm out.
I want to see. Look, it's TV. You know, I want to see fun things to look at.
I think the basis of the story of a kid coming out of nowhere who does not have a law degree, working for this top law firm, and keeps working his way up, and you got to keep that a secret. That I think is interesting in itself. So give it a couple episodes. I think you might be in for a couple episodes, which might get you into a season, and then now it's like I don't need to watch season 2.
Is it repetitive? Are we doing the same thing episode after episode? Because, by the way, that's not a deal breaker. I watch Law and Order. It's the same thing every time. I like it. It's just
there's a lot of
find the dead guy.
Different case though.
It's a different case, but by the way, it's always the boyfriend or the wife.
Oh, of course.
It's always the boy, or occasionally
maybe the neighbor,
occasionally
and
the neighbor, and occasionally a business deal gone bad.
The bartender always has like photographic memory of everyone who's ever come to the bar in New York City.
Came in, ordered a whiskey sour, gave me $1.25 change, left at exactly 10:23, and like, we got it. It's like that doesn't go.
Maybe that's what hurts the storyline too. It is repetitive. And it's always like it's nothing really else happening outside of the law firm. So it's not like they've taken the show and there's some other. It's just a lot of the same. Literally, they're all wearing suits all the time.
I have a counter pitch. Similar show, only 2 seasons, a lot shorter seasons. Like maybe it's like 6 or 7 episodes. A lot more Zastro time. It's a show called Industry on HBO.
Okay.
So it's these
industry is in the movie industry.
No, it's about like finances,
okay.
like stock market stuff. So, girl goes to London to go work in a finance place, and she lies on her resume that she graduated from college. Doesn't, goes to work to this place, continues on. Yeah.
Okay.
We both lied.
Oh, sounds like me.
Just fine.
By the way, I'd like to meet the person whose resume is exactly
right.
Factual. Like
That's awesome.
Every line is exactly what it is.
Right.
I don't think that resume exists.
When I get canned here, I do want to put in my resume. Thought I had a job at Golden Corral. Called it back. Did not have a job at Golden Corral.
You got a job offer from Golden Corral.
Job offer.
Didn't last long.
Told her to wait an hour.
You circled back. Ask Slee coming up in about 10 minutes from right now. Let's do a little phone Ask Slee today. 877-710-ESPN. 877-710-3776. Ask Slee in about 10 minutes. Of course, you can send them to me on Twitter as well, at Travis Rogers. Tony Gonsolin got roughed up on Friday night. 5 home runs. Broke Don Sutton's record for most home runs
That's not good.
allowed in a start with 5. Don Sutton's in the Hall of Fame, and Don Sutton was awesome. I don't know if that's the career trajectory for Tony Gonsolin, but the Dodgers announced shortly after that he's very unlikely to pitch the rest of the season, that he has an arm issue, an undisclosed arm issue that they think is going to prevent him from pitching for the rest of the season. So kind of two minds here, Al, and I want to play this to Dave Roberts talking about Tony Gonsolin, because I think this is incredibly important as to why they kept pitching him, knowing that maybe his arm wasn't at 100%.
It's still symptomatic. I mean, was it pain-free? Probably not. But I know as an organization, we were very clear in saying and knowing that you're not going to hurt yourself worse, and we're not going to try to do that to the player. So we're all aligned and felt good about that. So, but I do commend Tony. Yes.
So Dave was asked, did he continue to pitch because the rotation was so thin, so many guys.
He had a doubleheader the next day.
Doubleheader the next day, and he's saying, I commend Tony for that. I give Tony Gonsolin a ton of credit for going out there,
gutting it out,
less than his best, and giving the Dodgers, maybe not great outings, but giving them a bunch of outings week after week after week, knowing that he's less than the best, knowing that the rotation was Julio was not good, and Kershaw was down, and Dustin May is down, and Walker Buehler is down. Nothing was working, and he kept pitching. I give him a lot of credit for that, even if he didn't pitch particularly well.
So help me understand this one, because I think that he pitched 3 1/3, gave up 10 runs,
5 jacks,
10 runs, five home runs. When you see a story like that come out, that after the game, hey, we're probably not going to see Gonsolin the rest of the year, he's having some type of elbow issue, I don't know how well that sits with me. That just listening to that, putting those two together and I really don't like we're trying to just get him as deep as we can go because we don't want to use our bullpen because we got a doubleheader coming tomorrow. I hate those going together because here's a pitcher that is getting demolished on the mound. He's not pitching at 100%.
There are a couple of times you're like, you're going to go get him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, I go back to this. If hypothetically, if that night the reports were, I just had a really bad night and I didn't have my best stuff tonight. And, the franchise and Dave Roberts decided, well, we're probably not coming back in this one anyways. Let's just keep him out there. I get that strategy. But for this to be the last time we see Tony Gonsolin the rest of the season, I don't like the way those two go together. I really don't.
I'm trying to come up with something to say, it's not as bad as you think. I'm striking out. I don't have – now, I guess if we're giving everybody the benefit of the doubt, just a really lousy coincidence that on the night he just had a really terrible night, it also happened to be the night where he had the arm go from, it doesn't feel great to, hey, I can't pitch anymore. Maybe it's just a coincidence, but I think what you're saying, Al, is probably the reaction a lot of people are having. I do think that part of it is on Tony and the team to go say, look, prior to Friday night.
Sure.
I don't feel right. I'm not your guy. I know we're getting crushed. I know we can't go. I can't go tonight either. My arm is bothering me. That didn't happen, that they continued to pitch him is everybody's responsibility. But the Dodgers needed somebody to absorb a lot of innings. No one else was really able to do it, right? Julio missed a little time. Julio's ineffective. Kershaw has been highly effective, but missed a lot of time.
Lance Lynn's coming in now.
Lance Lynn's been
innings.
good, but really, and Tony Gonsolin missed the beginning of the season with that ankle injury, but since he came in, he's taken the ball every time, and there's some value in that, and I think the Dodgers understood that. Now, that's part A. Part B of this is, what does it do to their postseason plans? And I don't mean this to be in any sort of way disrespectful to Tony.
Doesn't change much.
Doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't change a thing. He wasn't going to – the only way it might is if you got to have more guys pitch more often for the next 6 weeks just to get to the finish line. But Tony Gonsolin wasn't going to get a start in the postseason. Tony Gonsolin was not going to pitch high-leverage innings in the postseason. He just wasn't. He hadn't pitched well enough. Bobby Miller's a much better choice. Lance Lynn is a much better choice. Julio and Kershaw are already locked into their two spots. And if you get into high-leverage situations in the 5th or 6th or 7th inning, that's not Tony Gonsolin territory.
I want to go back to something, but if I just stay with however you were going to use Tony Gonsolin, it's not like, we're not talking Kershaw, we're not talking Julio, we're not using any of that. But Gonsolin could definitely, in a playoff game, give you 3 or 4 innings. And I don't think it would be out of the ordinary for him to give up a run or two. And then it's like, okay, you did your job, take the ball, and however that night's working. Maybe it's you're using a couple different guys for that day. Gonsolin could be one of those pieces. But let's put that to the side. I always kind of think of, this is the part where I have a little bit the taste in my mouth. I'd be foolish to think that franchises always have the best interest of their players. I know that's not how it works. It is a business. And there are times where the business is going to be selfish for its own interests, and there's going to be players and employees that are selfish for their own interests. I'm going to be a free agent at the end of the year. Maybe I'm not going to push it as hard if I'm locked up for 6-7 years. Everybody's kind of looking out for themselves. We talked about Walker Buehler last week and the chances of Walker Buehler coming back, and Dave Roberts saying, we're not bringing him in for a couple of innings. Either he can pitch us a game the way Walker Buehler can, or we're probably not going to see him. And I think both of you and I, by the end of that quote, were like, I don't think we're going to see Walker Buehler.
Right.
They're looking out for his best interest. The Gonsolin thing that just is a little bit tougher for me to comprehend is, was Tony Gonsolin, was it in their best interest to make sure Tony Gonsolin, whatever elbow injury he has, and I think they read that it can't get any worse, was I think the quote that was out there. But you pitch the guy, he gave up 10 runs in a game that is his final game that he's going to probably pitch all season long. That doesn't vibe to me. That doesn't jive from that one's a more difficult one for an organization that's as responsible as they are. That one was what Tony Gonsolin's going to be in the postseason and how much you're losing from there. I think that's a separate conversation of what are the quotes that I'm just hearing right now.
It's weird. It's weird, and you're right. They are two separate conversations. How you're going to use him in October. The answer to that question was either when you're up by 10 or down by 10 or not at all. Which, can we find somebody else to do that? Yeah, they can. There's plenty of guys that can fill in there. That's over there. Did your usage of him lead to this? And did you basically say, hey, look, because we know we're not going to need him, but we need coverage over these things?
Yeah, it's a good way to put it.
That's a question for Andrew Friedman. That's a question for Dave Roberts.
Yeah.
It's a question for Tony Gonsolin. Now, at the end of the day, I think Tony Gonsolin needs to be the one to say, if he's not right, he needs to speak up. Mm-hmm. He needs to speak up and say, I can't pitch today. My arm hurts. And maybe you get a little side eye from somebody. Maybe you don't. Maybe okay, it's fine. But it's at the ultimately, it's Tony Gonsolin is the one that has to raise his hand and say, my arm is killing me. I can't go.
How many times have we seen this in sports where a player is like, you're not taking me out of the game.
Yeah.
But it's the manager's job to say, I get it. I love your competitiveness. I love this. I love that. But I'm taking you out of the game.
Yeah.
That's, I guess, maybe
this is
where
the opposite. It's, can you please take me out? Nope. Not until you give up that 5th home run. It was a weird night. I'm sorry that he's hurt. He was great for this goes back to what we were talking about last year with him when he was good, beginning of the season.
Before he got injured,
And
too.
I said, show me again. That guys of Tony Gonsolin's pedigree, it's like, I'm going to need to see that a few more times. Not that you can't become a very good pitcher, but when you kind of just, oh, okay, that's a all-star season out of left field.
What was his record? There was
again.
a point last year. He had like one loss.
He was like 13-1.
Something like
point.
that.
Something
His ERA
crazy like
was
that.
one of the lower.
He was terrific.
Yeah.
Show me again. Mm-hmm. Like with Bobby Miller, it's like, I'm a believer even before I've actually seen it. With Julio, it's like, yeah, that's a little different. With a guy like Gonsolin, it's like, okay, let's run it back and let's see it again. Unfortunately, he got hurt. Ask Slee coming up next. 877-710-ESPN. That's the phone number. Ask Slee right around the corner. Travis Slee, 710 ESPN. If you get hurt in an accident, you need to know that not all personal injury attorneys are the same. You need to know that because they're not. You do not want to take on the insurance companies by yourself. You want somebody that knows the insurance company, knows how they operate. How about Sweet James, who used to work for the insurance companies? How about Sweet James that knows their tricks? Sweet James is going to make sure that they don't run their games on you, which is basically just get it done cheaply and quickly and on to the next one. Sweet James is going to make sure that you get your car fixed. Sweet James is going to make sure you get the medical care that you require. And most of all, Sweet James is going to go to work on that settlement. He's collected over $1 billion in his nearly 20-year career. He's collected more in a year than most people do in their lifetime. So if you're hurt in an accident, make the call that I've made. Call Sweet James, 1-800-9-MILLION. That's 1-800-9-MILLION, 1-800-900-0000. And, of course, you can go online at sweetjames.com. If you are hurt in a car, motorcycle, truck accident, call the accident attorneys at Sweet James at 1-800-9-MILLION, 1-800-9-MILLION, and sweetjames.com.
Twice and Sliwa. It's time, like we do every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10:45. Ask Slee, and Ask Slee is presented by our friends at Harrah's Resort SoCal. Find your funner state of mind with a visit to Harrah's Resort SoCal, voted best resort in funner California. From dining to unwinding, you'll find fun around every corner. Learn more at harrahssocal.com. Let's get to it. Ask Slee right now.
877-710-ESPN. If you got an Ask Slee on the phone, that's a good way to do it. Or you can tweet the more traditional way, like our pal Aaron Palmer in the Travis and Sliwa All-Star community says, hashtag Ask Slee. You've been given an elephant. It's a good starting point right there. You've been given an elephant. You cannot sell it or give it away.
Okay.
What do you do?
Well, first thing I have to do is I have to move. Because the condo complex in Pasadena, believe it or not, does not allow elephants.
It's not elephant friendly?
Yeah. The little courtyard area we have where I throw balls to Rookie, I don't think that's going to work. I don't think that's going to jive. So now I'm moving. Now I'm getting out of here.
Are you going inland, to where you can get a little more land?
Yeah, I got to go inland.
Barstow or something farther away?
I need a half acre to an acre.
I feel like that wouldn't be big enough for an elephant.
Well,
I don't know.
He's going to have to figure it out. I can't go. Maybe I got to go really deep out there where I'm going to
Iowa.
Taylor.
Hey, look, maybe that's what it. Oh, you can't give it away though.
You can charge for rides.
with Taylor.
Put it to work. Charge for rides.
But where do you keep it when you're not using it as
or
a money-making
half an acre.
Or just straight financial. He's like, this is what we're doing, all right?
You gotta hustle. Hey,
First of all, this is an
$2
episode
laps.
of The Simpsons where Bart wins Stampy the elephant, and they have to keep it in the house. I got bad news for you. The elephant's not making it very long if you actually have to. Imagine trying to feed an elephant. Imagine trying to care for you'd be broke, and now you're gone, and now the elephant's toast.
Well, what if like Jorge said, that this is strictly a business transaction. We're getting $15 for 2 quick laps around or whatever the case is.
Okay.
We might end up in Malibu together. We might get a half an acre in Malibu.
Here's the idea. You
You're
get
going to
one
have
of those,
to charge more than $15 a ride to live in Malibu.
Yeah. You get one of those train cars that has the open top, which is how they used to transit those elephants when they were in the circus and stuff. So you get a train, the top open, and then you just drive around the coast.
So your solution is to basically recreate the movie Dumbo and drive
Water for Elephants.
There you go. All right, next one. This is
for Aaron Palmer
Francis.
for coming up with arguably the most random thing we've ever heard of on Ashley.
You can't put it anywhere. There's nowhere. An elephant's the size of this room. Where are you going to put it?
Trav, can I bring it over? Just we'll go get a cup of coffee. But
Is
I got
this
to
bar
bring this
elephant friendly?
Tie up your elephant out front like they do with the dogs, the little leash around the bike rack.
Like the horses. Remember how you used to have the horses in front of a bar?
It always bothered me when they'd go into the Cowboys ride up to the saloon in the Old West, and they got the hitching post out front, right? And they just kind of throw the reins over the post. They don't tie it off. Like the horse could just walk away. That always bothered me.
Mentally, the horse is.
The horse is his best friend. He knows where he's at.
It's a horse. The horse is just going to, if it sees water or another horse over there, it's going to go check something out.
Domesticated, though.
How about this? You ever see somebody tie somebody, in front of a coffee shop at the Starbucks or something, and you're trying to, if you're walking by and you're looking at that dog, and I'm like, oh, cute dog. Let me give this guy, a couple of.
Nah, not me.
And that dog is so invested on his owner that he's just looking to where the hell the owner go. Like he's never going to see him again. Dog doesn't even pay.
Oh, is that Rookie? Is that Rookie?
No, I don't take Rookie. I don't really. I wish I'd take him more. The only thing I do is I take Rookie on walks. I don't take him to places.
You're like me, Jorge.
Oh,
I'm not petting a random dog. If I see a dog with its owner, I will, and the dog looks friendly. I'll say, okay, if I pet the dog, and I'll pet the dog. But just a dog that I don't know, I'm going to go way around that dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Way around that dog. Yeah. What do I know? Dog could be Cujo's nephew or something. And
you're attacking.
I don't know. Sure. I don't know.
If it's a Heinz dog, different story.
They got that thing on its face. They got the cone. There could be a lot of things going on. TFP. Worse. There's a lot of odor questions coming up, Slee. Just be prepared. What's a worse smell? Outside right now after Hurricane Hilary, or the back of your wrist after you wear a watch all day?
That's random.
Very.
A wristwatch? Oh.
I've worn a watch for a long time. I've never noticed that my wrist smells.
I know what he's saying. He's saying, if you're out all day, you're sweating, something like that. I'll go with the body odor is just bad. Like, you got to take care of the body odor. That's
What are
got
you,
to be taken care of.
deodoranting your wrist
No,
before you
just-
put on a watch?
Lotion, dude, that's gonna make it worse.
I'm imagining you just wash your hands, go a little higher. Wash that wrist off.
Have you ever noticed that that's a particularly funky part of your body, your wrist?
Funky, no, but definitely, oh yeah, I could feel that I was sweating there.
That's just
With a watch on?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's I don't have to.
I think it's also
You and
specifically-
DP must have weird
Go
wrists.
get a workout in, and you have
Apple
you have your
Watches
Apple
are-
Watch on, something like that.
Are they funky, Em?
Definitely.
Apple Watches can get pretty smelly.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think that's why you have to kind of change your wristband a lot. I do. So, yeah.
Throw mine in the laundry.
The car
do your
wash,
thing.
stick your hand out the window. Just kind of have that thing that does the back and forth with the soap all over your wrist. Get it squared away. Here's another odor-related question, Slee.
Let's hear it.
John in Huntington Beach of Fullerton. How many strokes of deodorant do you use on each pit?
Up, down.
Just two?
No.
Yeah, two. Up,
Okay.
down.
Two? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find myself spending too much time in there.
Are you just like
I'm just
everywhere?
like, okay, I've been doing that for 5 minutes. I feel like I could move to the other side. I don't know what it is. Like it comes up a lot where I'm like, that's way more than you need.
You're using one a week? Just one a week, God?
I'm going through them at a clip that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like, I just bought these. Why do I need a whole nother
Maybe
5-pack of that?
Maybe a up, down, up.
Why do they call it 3? That's a 50%
I think it's
improvement.
3. Yeah, I
I'll
think
go
it's
5. 5 on each.
You going
1, 2,
5?
3, 4, 5.
Yeah,
1,
that's-
2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm good. And then you do this, kind of rub it in.
And then you
We're
got to
good.
wait to put your shirt on for a minute or two, or else your shirt gets all...
It's just like this. Everything just to move it around.
Because if you pop your shirt right on, then you get that thing on the side
Yeah,
of your
yeah,
shirt.
yeah.
That's not a good deal. All deodorant talk all day long here on the Trav and Slee
It's a
Show.
fair question.
Why do they call it a wrap when it's shaped and wrapped like a burrito? Hashtag Ask Slee. I think I know the answer to this.
I think it just, if I'm right, it's coming down to what you're using.
On the interior?
I think the exterior.
Okay.
If it's a tortilla, it's a burrito.
But what
well,
if
the interior actually, yeah. I
But
think
if it's a tortilla and I put in like lettuce and chicken and tomatoes and red onions and Greek and Kalamata olives, that's like
Still
a
kind
Greek
of-
salad wrap. It's not a burrito.
it's not a burrito.
By the way, that sounds
burritos
what I
gotta
just
be
described
hot.
right
Also,
there
if it's
sounds pretty
pita,
good.
it's usually
Yeah.
like a euro.
The burrito's hot. The wraps are cold.
Okay, I have one other theory.
Yeah, that might be the best theory.
That's
of,
better than mine. Isn't a wrap typically open on one end?
Half of it.
No, wraps can be closed.
Can they be closed?
Yes,
They're just
they're almost
cut in
always
half?
I feel
Is
like
that
a
what
lot
I'm
of
seeing?
wraps are cut in half.
Yeah, but I've seen like if you get them in a restaurant occasionally or at a deli or what, the top is open. Like Taco Bell has the top of their burritos open. It's always bothered me. Like a burrito needs to be closed all the way around. All sides need to be completely enclosed. The wrap has the lettuce and the tomato popping out the top.
I've never had a wrap
No?
like that, unless I got like one of those like snack wraps from McDonald's. But almost,
Yeah,
I think you're
most of
talking
my
about a
wraps
euro.
closed.
A euro has the if you get a Greek
but
restaurant.
that's just like a messy sandwich.
Yeah.
Delicious, but messy.
yeah.
One more, Slee. This is from Ramon Vasquez, who writes,
What do you got, Ramon?
If the lens of the camera is circular, why do pictures come out in rectangles?
This is the same guy that would ask, why are pizzas round, cut
the
into
box
triangles,
square?
and those box squares?
I think it has to do with aspect
man.
ratio.
I have no idea.
I have no idea. I have no idea. Whatever theory you have, Emily, is probably the
Do
right.
you have like a real camera answer for that, Em?
Yeah, I think it has to do with aspect ratio.
I don't even know what that means.
Okay, so how come your eyes are round and we see everything flat too? Come on.
I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't know. Are we actually? Now that one's going
See,
to bother
exactly.
me the rest
That's-
of the day.
So-
Am I seeing
so-
everything in rectangles?
Aspect ratio, I don't know if it actually has to do with camera stuff, but like when you're watching a movie and you see the bars on the top and the bottom, and then if you don't,
That's
that's
16:9,
having
yeah.
to do with aspect ratio.
Okay.
what
I don't know.
she said is a better answer than either
I don't
you and I
know.
will ever give.
Jorge's, do you see the world in rectangles is going to bother me the rest of the day.
Yeah, because your eyes are round just like a lens. So,
Yeah, but
come on.
if I'm looking at you, I don't see like the sharp corners of the
No.
field of vision.
No.
It's more.
It's more like at those IMAXs that are all the way around,
Yes.
where
Yes.
that's how we should see things.
Next time I have trouble sleeping, instead of counting Dodgers and their jersey
You
numbers,
start
I'm thinking
thinking
about
about
this.
eyes.
It might give me nightmares. So it'll be like an episode of the movie Inception. I'll never be
Why
able
does
to
your
figure it out.
wrist smell?
So yeah, that one's gross. I don't like that one. USC has a football game in 6 days. 12-0 or bust. That's next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN.
is presented by Harris Resort SoCal. Find your funner state of mind with a visit to Harris Resort SoCal. Voted best resort in funner California, from dining to unwinding. You'll find fun around every corner. Just go to the website. Learn more at harrissocal.com.
You never
Hey, ESPN LA listeners, it's John Ireland. You want to play golf with me and corporate Greg Bergman? You can, thanks to Terranea. If you listen to the show, you know Terranea is my favorite place in the world. It's like going to Hawaii without getting on a plane. Well, you can play golf with Bergman and I at the links at Terranea, and then we'll buy you lunch. Here's how you win. Send a video of your golf swing to @ESPN Los Angeles on Instagram or on Twitter. We'll take a look at your golf swing. If you impress us, you'll be playing golf at Terranea with me and Bergman, and then we'll buy you lunch. And you can eat, all you can drink. We don't care. We're not paying.
Brands radio station. It's Travis Rogers, Alan Sliwa. Travis and Sliwa.
But do you think it's the right move? Do you think it's the right strategy?
No. Live from LA Live on 710 ESPN.
You're going to want to listen to Mason and Ireland all week long for your chance to win tickets to the exclusive Mason and Ireland LAFC pep rally and live broadcast coming up Friday, September 1st. That is from 1 to 4 inside BMO Stadium at the Founders Club. Fans in attendance have a chance to win LAFC versus Miami tickets and autographed merch, plus food and drink. Listen all week long to Mason and Ireland on 710 ESPN. And Messi added another trophy to his, what I would assume is a rather extensive collection of hardware. He won the Champions Cup. Is that what we're calling it? Leagues Cup.
Most prestigious of anything that he's brought home.
Yeah, where does that rank in the things of, like, let's try to think of what could LeBron James win that would be the equivalent of Messi's Leagues Cup trophy?
All-Star Game MVP?
G League.
Yeah.
G League, that's it.
Yeah, but G League, but like an actual trophy that he actually has. If you look at all of them, is
Drew
the
League
one
trophy.
Yeah, it's
yeah, maybe Drew League. Yeah, that one actually
Drew League
might be
it.
He was in the Drew League.
Yeah,
Yep.
it
was there.
He's awesome. He's killing it. He's changed. That team
That
was
whole
terrible.
team,
Now
that
they're
team was terrible.
fantastic.
What you said last week, what you said about, all right, does this just say, yes, Messi is arguably the greatest soccer player ever.
Sure.
But he's also not in his prime anymore.
But I don't know. Jorge, help me out here.
I know, I'm with you. The World Cup.
He just won the World Cup 6 months, 10 months ago.
How old is he?
32, I believe.
Is he still the best player in the world?
Oh, absolutely.
Wait.
Okay.
If he's only 32.
You know,
36.
36, there you go. See,
I was going to say. That has to be. Because I'm thinking your prime, and I don't know what it is in soccer. We always do it with other sports. But usually it's like, all right, past 32, I'm assuming your prime is your best days are behind you or end of your prime. I get it. I'm with you, too. It's like, wait, how's he going toe-to-toe with Mbappe, who's 24, 25, or whatever the case is, in the World Cup?
Right.
With players that are great, but they're also not the greatest players that are out there.
I looked it up. Prime is usually like between 20 and 27 for strikers.
So he's past that particular, but he just was the best player on the World Cup championship team. That seems important.
It is.
And then came to the MLS and took. I guess basically, is it as simple as this? The MLS of where they are competitively. Could he have gone to any team on the MLS?
Yeah.
If Inter Miami was one of the worst teams out there, and he just took him, so he could have literally gone to any team in the MLS, and his impact alone, they're probably going to win the whole thing.
It seems like it. I want to see. Let's see who's the favorite. The Braves are the favorite to win the World Series right now. Like Ronald Acuna wins the World Series, is named World Series MVP, and then decides to go play in the KBO. It's like, okay, I get that you're going to go hit 75 home runs there, but what's the point? And the Korean League offers him $100 million a year.
Sure.
Okay, I get it, but am I impressed by the 70 home runs? Less so. And that's kind of what we're dealing with here.
The Saudis offered the money too. He could have gone to the Saudi league.
Yeah, and then also I think he said something about like he's always wanted to live in the U.S. and
All right.
There's
it's a win-win for the guy,
I'm not judging. Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out the level of competition.
The whole prime stuff. Brady was how old when he won the last Super Bowl?
43 or 4.
LeBron is doing it at this age right now, so I think the prime age should change at this point.
It's probably you're right. It's probably the last 10 years.
These guys take care of themselves like no other.
The last 10 years, whatever that prime age was, is probably being adjusted.
Well, I agree with both of you. I agree that Emily's right that Tom Brady is an outlier, that Messi is an outlier, that LeBron is an outlier. I get that. But you're starting to see the prime for non-outliers get extended too, right? That Matthew Stafford is in his mid-30s. Drew Brees played until his 40s. That Patrick Mahomes probably has another 12 years of being one of the best players in the league. And so he could have a prime that lasts 20 seasons potentially. I mean, before it was you got like a 5 or a 6. If you're really fortunate, maybe an 8-year window to hit it. And now, if you're really fortunate, you work really hard, you could have a 12 or 15-year window to hit.
And that just kind of comes with where we are with the sports, where we are with the technology, where we are the recovery, where you are with it. I mean, it just naturally this just happens. Well, look, 20 years from now, maybe that prime's different as well.
Also, what motivates him? What if he wants to go and defend this World Cup?
Yeah.
What if he plays here in the States? He already knows what it's like. Playing, here, getting used to the different cities he goes to, and
playing on some turf.
Exactly.
By the way, can you imagine that game, LAFC?
Oh, it's going to be wild.
Oh,
how cool is that going to be?
You'll be in the house, right?
Yeah, hopefully, yes.
Yeah.
At BMO.
You got to start putting in your requests right now, right?
No, Mario. Yes.
You got a guy.
I should be okay.
Jorge's got a guy.
We deserve to be there. I mean, for
no, honestly,
everything we have done.
I would love to see it because you know me. I like events. I like to go see NASCAR at the Coliseum. I like to see hockey at Dodger Stadium. I like cool, different events. I would love to see it, but somebody that knows what it is that they're seeing has a much higher priority than yours truly.
You should,
but everyone can go out to the remote broadcast with Mason in Ireland. That's going to happen. So
you should put in a request. Not just to go in, but to also help out with the play-by-play.
I want to be the falconer that day.
Yep.
Go be the guy that does the falcon.
Go interview and do a press conference with Messi, too.
I don't think. I need to learn Spanish, first of all.
Interviewing Messi.
Well, no, you sound just like him.
I need a camera assistant. Pull the wire.
Okay, yeah. Look, you got to twist it, right? Exactly. You twist it, and you twist. You can't just wrap it up. Over under. That's right. See, not everybody knows that. I'm your guy.
That's it.
I've already proven my worth. It could happen. Speaking of the window, USC's window opens on Saturday against San Jose State, their first game of the season. And their window is as open as it's probably going to be for at least a little while. because Caleb Williams almost assuredly is going to go to the NFL at the end of the season.
Yeah.
They're going into the Big Ten. So your very best player is going to move on, and you're going from a conference that's okay to a conference that's very, very good and very, very deep.
Yep.
Probably want to make sure that you cash this one in, because what's waiting for you next year is going to be totally different than what you have this year.
Okay, what's more likely? More likely that USC, who, if you look at their schedule, and this is very Pac-12, final year of the Pac-12, but this is very typical of the Pac-12, before the season starts, you're going to have 4 or 5 schools that are ranked. And it's not that they're going to lose their rankings. It's just that they're not. If a team is number 15 in the Pac-12, that's much different than number 15 in the SEC or something along those lines, right? Like,
for sure.
It's not apples to apples.
Couldn't agree more.
It's not apples to apples. But what's more likely, you think? That USC goes 10-2, 9-3, somewhere around there. They're not a part of the college football playoff, but they got a chance to get into a decent bowl game, or that they run the table and that they're in the college football playoff.
I think there's something in between those two things. Between the two scenarios that you just painted, I'd take the first one. Running the table's so hard to do.
Or 11-1. I guess the point is they're in the college football playoff or they're in a really good bowl game.
I'll take them in the playoff. I will take them in the playoff because their defense. Here's what happened last year. Their defense gave up 29.2 points per game on average. That's way too many.
Yeah.
That ranked 93rd in college football. There's only about 115 teams.
Probably not good.
Okay? In all 3 games that they lost, they surrendered leads of 14 or more points. Okay? So a 2-touchdown lead isn't a sure thing. Feeling pretty good if you got a 2-touchdown lead, especially if it's in the second half. So you've got an opportunity. Your offense is going to work. Lincoln Riley has a pedigree that says, my team score a ton of points.
Sure.
Caleb Williams has a pedigree. He's the defending Heisman Trophy winner. He was not just good, he was transcendent last year. If he's even 90% as good as he was last year, their offense is going to be fine. The question is, can you get any stops? In the Pac-12, lose a game. Like if you stub your toe against Utah, you stub your toe against Oregon or Washington.
That's probably the game, right? At Oregon.
Could be.
They go November 4th hosting Washington.
Yeah.
The following week, November 11th, at Oregon.
Okay. So that could be the game. As long as it's not Cal, as long as it's not Arizona or
Sure.
Arizona State,
Sure.
You can lose a game. It needs to be against Utah, Washington, or
Notre
Oregon,
Dame.
or Notre Dame, UCLA. If you
Needs
lose,
to be against
if you lose one of those, it can't be in the conference championship, and it can't be to one of the bad teams on your schedule. If they get to the end of the line, and instead, I don't think they have to be 12-0. Be 11-1, win your conference championship. SC's going to the Final Four. People want SC in. The voters want SC in. Television networks want SC in.
And they're backloaded in their schedule. Like their schedule gets a lot harder at the end of the line. So when people are thinking about where they're going to put them, or when they're going to be showing up the most,
that those wins are more. They're stronger at the end.
They're going to be likely against other ranked teams.
I will just say this, and the scenario that you're playing out, I don't disagree with you that, of course, college football wants USC to be good. I don't disagree that the networks don't want USC to be good, that they don't want to show Lincoln Riley and that USC logo and
Sure.
Caleb Williams. They'd
Full
love for all that
Coliseum.
to happen. I guess I just don't have as much confidence that they're going to go 11-1. That if and I
Can I make the case for it?
I'll just put this one thing out there. What you said about giving up 29 or 30 points a game. Mm-hmm. There isn't a path that your defense is that bad and you still get in. Now, I get that your offense could be amazing, but damn, you almost have like no margin for error with your offense when it comes to that. I hate those scenarios. If you were telling me that SC, they don't score that much, but that's the best defense in the country, then I feel like I'd be more confident if it was flipped.
I think TCU got in last year with like the 17th best defense in the country, and again, they got smashed in the championship game, but they still got
I'm
there.
not even talking about winning a championship. That's like
You're
the
saying
next
getting
level.
in the Final
I'm saying get in
Four.
the Final Four. Here's the case for it. We almost forget because it went so well last year. That was their first year under Lincoln Riley. They are just getting started. Presumably, the offense will be better in year 2 than it was in year 1. Even if it's not. Say it's the same, or at least it's
pretty good.
Mostly the same.
Yeah.
It's more than good enough. The defense just has to get slightly better. And like we're talking about with the offense, if year 2 is better than year 1, it doesn't need to go from where they were last year at 93rd to 3rd. They need to go from 93rd to 65th. That doesn't seem like an unreasonable jump to go from really bad to just sort of okay. The offense is going to be really good. The offense with no prep time 1 year was one of the best offenses in all of college football. He knows how to do that part of it. If the defense just gets incrementally better, that's the path.
Williams also, that was his first year fully starting for the team. So his first year at Oklahoma, it was a toss-up. If he was going to play for, I believe Spencer Rattler was going to play. So, it was the first year where he started every game. So it's also he's going to get better. And he was one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen last year.
If we could say, yeah, but Al, Lincoln Riley, this is going to be a second. Look at what he was doing in Oklahoma on the defensive side. That's the only thing that always will hurt him, right? That it's not.
There's nothing for that.
There's nothing for that, and that's only my hesitation. It's a weird stat, but Emily had mentioned this. LA Times had an article on it. Trojans gave up 35.7% of their points during the fourth quarter. There was also crunch time when you needed your squad to get the stop or to, listen, if you're giving up 35% of your points in the fourth, I don't like that combination either. Just that's my hesitation with SC. It will be there until Lincoln Riley proves he has a team that can get some stops.
Fix it, or we're going to assume it's going to be the same. And again, it doesn't need to go from terrible. You don't need to go from an F student to valedictorian.
That's as strong as a point as you can make.
From an F student to a C- student. That's not a huge ask, right? A kid that gets an F can get a C-. Kid that gets an F is probably not getting an A. But you can get a C-, and that's all you really have to have because your offense is an A triple plus, and it probably will be all over again. I saw something this weekend, Slee, that made me think of you, and I love irony, so that's coming up next. It's Travis Slee, 710 ESPN. If you're hurting an accident, All right, I'll get a couple. See, we got smart listeners that are able to help us out with some things that maybe we don't know the answers to. This is from Hosey Thomas, who says the sensor of the camera is rectangular. That's why. So there you go.
Well, I mean, we were basically saying that. We didn't say it.
Really?
None of us were close.
This is from Jacob, says the shutter under the camera lens is actually rectangular, so that's why it's like that. So there's two people that have probably operated a camera that know those sorts of things. Now, this is the one that's a little more confusing. Why does that elephant noise sound like a Karen who's been inconvenienced and told to wait another 5 minutes for her table? That's actually Mason, Jorge?
It is. That is.
I did not know that.
Do an elephant.
Emily, do we know if Mace is working today or not? Is that?
I think they're back.
You never know. It's always up in the air. So if he is in fact coming in, we can ask him that. But that sounds like a elephant that's congested, that's got like a head cold.
Mace is scheduled to be here, so hopefully he'll be here. I mean, maybe the hurricane will change things, but
who knows? But he's got. We can ask him that along the way. Karen is much more aggravated.
Yeah.
Well, she's like stamping her foot and like
and waving her arms.
Yep.
And you're telling
complaining
me
about nothing.
that I have to wait another 5 minutes. You told me 5 minutes 5 minutes ago, and now you're asking me I have to do another 5 minutes? Like, do you understand what I have to do the rest of the day? I got to get the kids to school. I've got to go to the yoga class. I've got to go, and I got to go to the smoothie place. Like, you're really asking me to wait another 5? Can I speak to your manager, please? That doesn't sound like an elephant.
It's a pretty good Karen.
So we compared it to this. Listen, so this is Mason. Oh. Okay. And then we compared it to this. Tyler from what's that band? The singer, damn.
Killing me.
Steven Tyler.
Oh, that's
yeah.
Yeah, it's more of a bad Steven Tyler than an elephant.
That's Steven Tyler.
That's pretty good.
This is the elephant.
Sounds like he's sick. That is, by the way, if your elephant ever sounds like that, take it to the vet.
It's an injured elephant.
That doesn't sound
there's
good.
Injured elephant.
Yeah, he has an obstruction of some sort. Something needs to be fixed. I want to play this for you, Slee. I was watching baseball this weekend. Dodgers, they didn't have anything going on yesterday, so I was down the rabbit hole seeing a lot of things.
Apparently, we'll let Greg talk about it later.
Suits.
You got a lot in.
He pulled a full day. He had a full day of suits.
I love you saying it like that. He pulled a full day, as if like he woke up early in the morning. He put his boots on. He put in a full day's of
club,
work.
It looked like too.
Did he hit the club? I see him coming in. Maybe we'll discuss this. Come in here, Greg. The corporate Greg coming in right now to talk about this.
It's a good question of like, do you reach a point when you're watching one of those? Because we could talk about a movie and say it's 3 hours long. No, I don't want to go watch it.
That's a long time.
Okay, but it seems like the shows on Netflix, all those are under a different. It's under a different definition that people can watch 6 episodes or 4 episodes of an hour plus, and it's not defined the same. You put in a long days of work yesterday.
I did put in a long days of work, but also, what else was I going to do?
Okay, but let's start with the facts here. How much Suits did you watch yesterday?
As accurately as you can describe.
I don't know. I mean, I turned it on. I just let it go. So it could have been, and I probably was out of my bed and on the couch by 9.
Okay, question. More than 5 episodes.
Oh, yeah. That was easy.
More than 8?
Yeah, absolutely.
More than 10?
Probably.
He's so easily.
What are they, without commercials, they're 45 minutes each?
45 minutes. Yeah, 45 minutes.
So if you watch 10 episodes of Suits at 40 minutes each.
No, it's 45 to 50.
Look, I just want to be clear about this. Like, yes, I did watch a lot of Suits yesterday, but honestly, I was on the couch, but I was doing other things. I was on my phone. I took naps. Like, you just let it play.
Great show.
It just goes.
You nap with it.
Well, I like being able to nap with shows, like knowing that basically it's a procedural drama that's going to just happen. It's all the same.
So whatever
kind of
you miss during the nap, you don't go back and say, "Oh, I missed that. I got to go watch it."
No, you can kind of figure it out.
Okay,
because it's all.
It's a lot of Suits.
Oh, well, Mike's in trouble.
Are you getting up? Are you going? Well, I know you don't go. I know you don't go to the kitchen because you don't have any food in your house. But what do you?
I really did not have food yesterday.
What do you
ketchup and bread?
Yeah. What are you doing when you're not staring at the TV that it's on for 10 hours?
No, I'm on my phone. Like I said, I took naps. I was laying with. I had my dog. I was laying with the dog.
Even if you took, how long was your nap? An hour? 2?
I don't know. Whatever my eyes opened up. I don't have an idea.
Are you sure you didn't have a concussion and you you were in a coma?
I honestly wasn't paying attention to the time because it was just a flat circle.
Did you turn around and it was dark outside? And it was still on.
I mean, it was always dark. It was raining.
No, but there's dark and there's overcast.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have no idea. Like, honestly, I sat down on the couch. I ordered food twice.
Wow.
I ordered breakfast and I ordered dinner.
Okay.
Yeah, which is nice.
I also thought that DoorDash stopped its delivery service in LA County or something like that.
It did not.
Conspiracy.
Okay.
Because
that was a
Grubhub
conspiracy.
came to my house twice.
Oh, so Grubhub.
Yeah.
So DoorDash is separate. So DoorDash did stop its delivery
they did?
yesterday. Yeah. Because
no,
of
I was the jerk that
danger.
wouldn't go out and made someone else drive out for me.
Because you don't have any food in your house.
Okay.
I had 0.
Is there a big difference?
No.
I think
You didn't
there
get milk?
is. I think there is a difference. We've all done this. We woke up on a Sunday, 10 a.m. the NFL games start, and we're sitting on the couch. It's
What's
like,
the
okay, the
difference?
10 a.m. to 1, the 1:15 kickoffs, and then that just kind of bleeds into, well, I might as well just watch Sunday Night Football as well. Next thing you know, it's 9 o'clock at night. You accomplished nothing. You ate everything in your fridge. You ate everything that's in the cabinets, everything else.
There's no difference.
We've had that, but here's the difference. The
No.
difference is I can do that for football. I don't know how that's possible for Suits.
What's the difference? You're
Just
watching
because
football
you enjoy
over and over.
football more than Suits.
Well,
though,
yeah,
right?
I
it's just a
enjoy-
personal
that's-
preference.
Yeah, I guess maybe it's just a personal
There's
thing.
a storyline, and the storyline just keeps on going. I mean, it's all the same characters. You're just
But in
watching
football,
them.
you're getting up. You're going to the kitchen.
But are
you're
you?
making some neat.
How
yeah,
often?
yeah. Well, I haven't had a Sunday like that in a while because I'm working the Ram stuff. But I've done it for sure. Don't get me wrong. But it's rare where it's 10 a.m. till 8:30 at night where you don't do anything else.
Right. I mean, I did get up. I walked in the rain. I walked the dog a couple times. Like, that's fine.
I think he had a fever dream. I don't think any of this actually
I got up
happened.
and went into the room a couple times. Like, I don't know. There was just it was just
What I'm most impressed
there was
with.
nothing else for me to do.
What I'm most impressed with was
Turn the channel. I'm not saying to watch TV all day.
No,
Turn
what's
on
the-
a different
what's
show.
the difference? If I'm enjoying what I'm watching, then what does it matter?
Yes, I don't know.
He could have
Like
watched Godfather 3 times.
I could.
Emily
That
would
easily.
No, Emily would have hated it.
You heard that we figured out that Emily hates the
I
Godfather.
heard. I heard
Don't
that you
hate
hate
the
it.
Godfather.
It's not the peak of cinema.
That's what I heard.
Not,
the
but
peak of cinema.
I don't. My issue with Godfather is less with the movie itself because I think the movie itself,
Rabbit
obviously, well made, well acted. It's just the people that are the fans of Godfather
IPA guys.
Oh, so you
are
don't-
just so rabid about it, and then jam it down my throat, and I'm like,
So
okay, sure, I'll like it. you're gonna turn around and say something about Taylor Swift to me,
Well, I was
sure,
just gonna
whatever.
say, what's the
okay.
difference between that and Taylor Swift?
There's no difference, and I'm being hypocritical. Okay, that's what's happening.
Literally the exact same
But
thing.
no, this is what I like about it is that you're letting other people decide how you like a movie because you're like, oh, it's the people that are ruining it for me, but you're not
Right.
talking
Okay,
about the
but,
actual
so
movie.
If,
I'm
the
with
actual, if
Emily
the actual
on
movie
this
itself is there, I'm saying it's an 8 out of 10, but I'm not going to put it as my favorite movie of all time.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
What is your favorite movie?
I am with her.
Lady Bird.
If
I never saw it.
Everyone else is just over the top, like this is the greatest thing ever, and I just kind of like it. That passion on the other side is deeply off-putting,
Want a
and
weird
they
one?
never let it go away, and they're constantly trying to correct you and explain to you. I'm with her on that. That's one, not on this particular instance, this specific movie, because I
Just
like the movie.
idea of somebody.
Do you like that? Yeah, it's okay. What do you mean it's only okay? It's one of it's like
What do you mean you haven't seen The Godfather?
Well, that's how I feel
Well,
about
not seeing The Godfather is
Not
not
seeing it
the
as
same.
weird.
That's
No,
different.
that's the same. That's the same thing.
No,
So
not seeing it's weird. There's a handful of movies
Yeah.
that you should at least have a working understanding of.
I don't
So,
know, what, does
Em-
pizza,
Em-
what does pizza taste like? I've never had pizza. It's like you should have pizza.
But no,
okay.
this is the one that I'm that
Number
same
6.
way with Anchorman. I was fine with Anchorman, but it was just people just were shoving it down my throat, and I'm like, God, this movie sucks. I don't want anything to do.
I
with
would
it anymore.
ask you to rewatch the scene where Jack Black kicks the dog. off
Okay,
the
that was
Colorado
funny.
Bridge.
There are funny parts. There are funny parts, but it wasn't as
Last
amazing
Case
as
of
people
Ocean.
said.
Eating a burrito.
And they're better lines. The lines are better than the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, how are the talks with the Peloton going? Any advance?
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about it.
Well, okay.
Ooh, you're
so
playing
Did you
hard,
talk
I
to
like this.
Susan?
I did.
And
Then I went online and looked at some prices for used Pelotons. Your price point's way off.
Oh yeah, I've seen them for like 500.
How much are they?
You're way too high.
I said, okay, this
But
his
price is based on his credit card debt towards the Peloton.
That's exactly what it was. I said,
not my problem.
I will know. I said to you, I will sell it to you for the price that it costs that I have left on it.
Right.
And you said okay.
No, I didn't say okay. I said we can continue the
Okay,
negotiation.
Wait a couple months, Trav.
Yeah, what's that? Em?
I said just wait a couple months. The price will go down.
I went and
it's just
looked.
getting paid. It's just getting paid every month. I don't have control over it.
Twice as much as, or half as what Greg's asking me to pay.
Half?
Yeah.
No way. It's $300.
You can look.
$400.
There are some places I've seen them on Facebook Marketplace.
Those are broken and have been used. Those have been
get an
used
autograph
like
seat.
3,000 times. Let me explain this to you. I've used it a total of 100 times.
Okay.
You know what his car is? His car is
low mileage.
Low mileage.
And
the
you know
car
where
that
the
he
seat
leased.
came from.
He leased for 3 years, and it was 12,000 miles a year. But he actually only put 8,000 a year on it. Okay?
That's exactly what it is.
The
It's a
other
perfect
Pelotons
analogy.
they're putting 18,000 miles a year on a 12,000 a year.
Those are going to break down. Mine's in perfect condition.
This kind of
barely
falls
used.
into the category of what
Like
I was
new.
buying a car for the kids, which is one of these. I don't need that. I don't care if that has cloth interior and it's ripped and one of the tires is flat. Like I'm not going to be on it. Right? This is not something that I need to worry about. So
but Susan will have to worry about it. Never been, barely been used.
We can continue
like
to
new.
negotiate, but you're going to have to come. You're going to have to come.
Not
down.
way down. I can't go way down.
Well, then we're done. That's
but
easy.
I can go. I
No,
said
no hard-
I didn't say I wouldn't
no,
go down.
No hard feelings. It's fine. Well,
I didn't say I wasn't going to go down.
Travis is in
Same
a
thing
state of
Mason
mind where
told
it's
them.
just business.
yeah.
No, Mason agreed to buy it. He fully
did.
agreed to buy
He
it,
did
and
agree
then
to buy it.
backed
Knowing
out.
the amount?
Yeah,
And then he
And
blamed
backed
Juan.
out.
Oh, Juan didn't want it after all. Oh.
yeah. That was nonsense. I should have forced him to. He
I
would
don't
done
have a
well,
ton
that's
of
not great.
skills in my life, but one of the things I have is I'm willing to say no to something I don't want to do. You
No,
know what
I
mean?
mean,
Like-
I know that. but
Like that's when
I said I would
don't
come
do it.
down, but not like way down.
Counter offer. The ball is in your court. You need to
Well,
hit
what
it
is
back my way.
you didn't give me a price?
I said you need to come down. Come down. Let's see how far you come
Well,
down.
you gave the price 800, and he said no. So
Right.
now
I am
No,
refusing
so-
to speak first.
Yeah.
So give me a price and let's see if we can come to an agreement.
I'm going to let you open the kimono.
Oh,
as
that's
they say.
ridiculous.
No, that's fine. I'll move on. That's
Okay.
fine. We can.
problem is, I think you need him more than he needs you. That's the only
Which
problem.
way is it? Who's he in this
You
situation?
need him more than
Greg
he
needs Travis
you.
more
Yeah.
than Travis needs Greg.
Hey, plus that seat is molded to his behind already. So
Well, we're getting look.
not after
regardless-
100 times.
Regardless of which Peloton actually gets purchased, we will be purchasing a new seat.
Yeah, there you go.
Because that seat is a very intimate item that I don't need. I would like you to throw the seat away before it even arrives at
Put it
my
on
house.
fire.
If we come to an agreement, part of the terms of
Lysol.
And conditions.
yeah, the terms and conditions will include
Clorox.
you incinerating the seat, and we can go from there.
We can discuss.
Factor Cap coming up next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN.
Mason. 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., and it's time for Factor Cap.
Oh, that's cap. That's so cap, Dad. Everything I've said is a cap, but I'm going to go back.
First of all, it's not a cap. It's
No, it
just
is a cap.
Welcome to Factor Cap.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Em.
Not only is USC starting this weekend, but so is the Aztecs, San Diego State. Are you going to go see it, Slee?
No go this weekend.
Okay.
No
Because
go
they're
this
playing
weekend.
Ohio University. So.
Ooh, the Bobcats.
Yep.
I love it. You know
How
all
did you
those.
know that?
I know most of them. I don't know all of them, but I bet you.
That's good.
What's Valparaiso?
I don't know.
Okay.
The Fighting
I don't
Valpos. Valparaiso,
Bobcat.
Indiana. I don't know. I'd bat about 90%, I think.
All right, that's
Yeah.
not bad. That's bad.
What
If
about
you're gonna play the
Christopher
Bobcat,
Newport?
what about my mom?
That's the
Bobcat.
guy in
No, my
Winnie the
mom.
Pooh. Christopher Robin is the
Christopher
universe-
Newport.
Oh no, I don't know that one either.
Yeah, they're like the seamen or something.
Is that a real school?
Yeah,
a
my sister
Division
went there.
One school.
Yes, Men at Sea.
Yeah, no, I know what it is. It's just a
Yep.
bad name.
Hey.
What's up, Emily?
I said
Hey,
see
you guys
men.
are there. All right, so Bill Belichick. Okay, so one thing. This was sent to me by Andy Kamenetsky, so blame him if you want to blame anybody. But Bill Belichick was on WEI talking about his summer, what he did. He went to a Taylor Swift concert, and so I'm going to play his experience at the Taylor Swift concert.
Saw a little bit of Taylor.
That's my guy.
We were wondering about that.
Yeah,
Did you get rained out? Were you at that show?
that was pretty impressive.
Yeah,
She, yeah,
killed it.
she's tough, man. She just stood out there and played right through it. Well, look, I'm definitely on the you got to calm down.
Okay, he's a Swiftie.
That's pretty good. Like
pretty
you got to calm down.
One of our best.
That's there's a lot of times when that's very appropriate.
Yes.
Just got to calm down.
All right, so he went to the show where it got rain. It could have gotten rained out, didn't get rained out. She played through the rain, and also "You Need to Calm Down" is one of her singles.
Okay.
So that's why those things make sense because of that. So Bill Belichick is the person you would least expect to see at a Taylor Swift concert. Travis, Factor Cap.
Cap. Bill Belichick is a fan of. He's a music fan. Like he's buddies with Bon Jovi.
Oh, right.
I think he's got some other relationships with some other artists as well.
Talk about Bruce in this interview too.
Bruce, that Bill Belichick likes live music. He likes big acts, right? So there's not a bigger act walking around than Taylor Swift right now. That his level of enthusiasm does not seem anything other than perfectly Bill Belichick.
Yes.
You know, we got to calm down. He's just Bill Belichick all the time. But no, I'm not surprised that he went.
Berg?
No, I'm not really surprised he went in either. I mean, he seems like he also has a pretty young wife, doesn't he? I think
Younger than he is.
younger than
yeah.
he is. Yeah, and like goes with her. Totally fine. I don't know. I'd be weirded out seeing like Marilyn Manson more so than Bill Belichick.
If you were at the show at SoFi and Bill Belichick walked by and then I walked by, who would you be more surprised by?
You.
That's exactly
You.
right.
I'd be
Because that's
like-
not something
I'd be like,
that I
"Oh."
typically do.
Okay, Bill Belichick's here. No.
Al?
Fact for me, I can't think of anybody else. I mean, I don't know. I didn't know Belichick has, as you said, like so many friends that are artists or something along those lines. But even him breaking down, is
that what he was
just
doing?
listening to the entire clip or that quote there, I would never expect Belichick to be there. I actually am very surprised, which I don't know anything about Taylor Swift. But the amount of athletes,
everything you do know has been forced on you by me.
Yes. The amount of athletes that are out there that talk about her and talk about the songs they like about her, that's actually very impressive to me. So Belichick would never expect in a million years.
What about Popovich?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that one would be surprising.
More so than Belichick.
You'd be more surprising?
I would.
I was just
He would have to
going to
travel
say,
because he wouldn't. Because obviously it's in Foxborough.
Belichick likes music. Like he's
Yeah.
got friends that are musicians, so that's not.
I don't
a
think
huge surprise.
Popovich likes anything.
Wine.
Oh, okay.
He's a huge wine person.
Jorge?
Yeah, Cap. I wouldn't be surprised. Plus, he's got daughters, right?
Belichick?
Yeah, he's got
I know
a
he's
couple
got
of
that son that's got the hair.
That's got hair.
I wouldn't be
That's
jealous.
well, he's on the sidelines. He's got the long hair. He looks like his dad a little bit.
Because he was getting criticized for kissing him in the mouth and whatnot. So I'm just like, hey, those are his kids.
I thought that was Tom Brady.
That was Tom Brady that kissed him.
Tom Brady kissed his. Yeah, that's.
Kissed his son.
Move on.
Wait, here's my question.
Next topic.
But before we go, hold on. I don't want to skip over Jorge's part. But I want to go back to the other.
That's what it was. And the kissing in the mouth. Relax.
Is Belichick doing a bit that he just never comes out of, or is he that disaffected by everything?
Dry.
I think he disaffected.
I think it's him. I think it's him.
Or he puts up a guard for like things like WEI or like things that you're on
What's
display.
the harm in saying, Hey, yeah, I went to see her. She was amazing. I mean, it was a great night, and she blew me away. What's wrong with that? Why does it always have to be like you just found out you got a terminal health diagnosis?
Because that's him. That's just him.
That's a good way of putting it.
Right,
No, but I think what you just said explains it all. Because I'm with you. It's impossible
to
all the time.
Always?
But that's just him.
That's just him.
I think it is.
Hey, Bill, you just won the lottery. You just won $6 billion.
Yeah,
really
I just went and
excited
I put some numbers down. They're all
Hey,
It
Bill,
was a
family
liquor
members'
store that I
birthdays,
visited
and
a
I just really
couple
enjoyed
times,
it. It
and
was
I
really
couldn't
nice.
believe
That was-
23 was picked.
I got
the
really
Powerball
bad
on
news.
the-
Your
on the
test
next
results are back, and they don't look good.
Well, that's not good, and I'm really disappointed.
He's had the same
about that,
reaction to
and-
both of those things. That's
Exact
not
same.
normal.
I don't think he's
deeply
normal.
abnormal.
All right. So
Let's go back to Jorge.
This weekend,
See,
the Giants and the Patriots played. Giants and Panthers played, and an employee was going to set up Bryce Young's mic, and this employee was caught on the hot mic, and then Bryce Young came on right after it. So I'm going to play this for you, and keep in mind Bryce Young is a shorter in stature than most other quarterbacks.
How's this? I'm 5'9", so this won't block him. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
So, I'm sorry. That's Bryce Young coming up, and then Bryce Young laughs it off and everything. But, yeah, again, just taking shots at him. So, you have ever really stepped in it at work? Berg, Factor Cap.
You absolutely.
You just
stepped in
confessed
for
to
it.
watching 10 hours of Suits.
Right, what are we talking about here? It happened not too long ago. Remember, it was last year or 2 years ago when I went on Sedano and Cap and said that Mason Ireland didn't know how to do interviews, and they lost their minds.
Right.
And they lost their minds on me, and I stepped in it pretty big time there. I've done it many, many times, and people have stepped in it.
Was there
with
heavy
me.
petting?
There was heavy petting, but not with them.
All right, Al?
Fact, I think we all have. I remember when I was down in San Diego, and I think this was like a client type of thing where we had a partner, and they were so difficult to deal with. And it wasn't a big partner. It was like, and this is kind of, I think, sales 101. Usually the ones that spend the least are the most difficult to work with. The ones that spend the most, it's much different. I remember accidentally sending an email out basically saying to the effect of like, I don't know how to deal with this partner. It's an incredibly difficult partner to deal with. They were on the email.
You replied all. You replied all.
Didn't you?
That's a good one.
They were on the
How
email.
did they respond to that?
What was the response?
Sadly enough, in a weird way, it kind of helped that I was like, they almost took a step back. They didn't like that I said it, but they liked that
you were
they
honest.
were kind of told they're difficult, and it kind of changed the relationship after that. In a weird way, it kind of worked. But it's the worst feeling in the world. I sent the email. I'm like, I just sent it to them. I just told them.
There's no pulling it back.
That's it.
It's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone forever.
Trev?
I've told this story before. I'll tell the shorter version right now. I was at the Super Bowl, Radio Row, working for Yahoo Sports Radio. Mike Pearson, who worked here for a long time, was my producer at the time. And LaDainian Tomlinson sits down to conduct an interview, and we're talking about his career and what he's done. At the same time that he was sitting down to me, the news of the day was that Adrian Peterson had been accused of abusing his children.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no.
I got my two running backs confused, and I called LT
Adrian Peterson.
Adrian Peterson.
Multiple times,
and so
right?
I said it once, and Mike Pearson looks at me like, what are you doing? And I'm just looking, I'm like, he heard something that, whatever. I did it a second time, and I see both LT and Pearson look at me like, what are you doing?
Who are you talking to?
Who are you talking to? And then he says to me, you've called him Adrian Peterson twice in the last 4 minutes. And all the color drains out of my face. We're done with the interview. I apologized to LT. I said, I'm sorry. I was reading this story right before he sat down. I'm really, really sorry. And it was thanks for the time. It was not good.
Yeah, he's not coming on with you again.
Nope, hasn't since.
Jorge?
Yeah, my TV days, we were on the road for like 2 weeks, and then we're at the final city. We did a whole East Coast thing with TV, and we had 8 days worth of footage, and we left the camera outside of this one location we're recording, and a homeless guy picked it up. We came back, luckily, to that location, and he's like, what are you guys looking for? And he described the camera. we kind of like matched the description to what he had, and then he's like, "Yep, this looks like yours," and then he handed it back to us. If not, I would have been fired.
Which was the camera worth?
Oh, camera was like at least $6,000.
Oh man!
But that was. But we had 2 weeks worth of material in there that we had to bring back so editors can just put it all together. It was a mess. And
that'd be a bad.
We ended up giving this guy our, cash dinner. Dude, it was just like he saved us.
You're lucky you ran into an honest person.
Yes.
Because that is unreal.
$6,000 camera and then 2 weeks worth.
He wins. He wins.
Yeah.
that is the absolute worst one. All right. Rams had a preseason game on Saturday night, and I think it's a pretty good indication of what we should probably look forward to when we get started for real against Seattle in a few weeks. That's coming up next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN.
All right, Sierra Subaru of Monrovia. They're always hooking me up with the newest models out there. I've had the opportunity to drive the 2023 Outback. I've had the opportunity to drive the SUV, the 2023 Ascent. And now the newest car that I've been taking around is the 2023 all-electric Solterra. Have taken it to a few different places. I'm always up and down the coast, driving back down to San Diego. What a beautiful drive. It's all-wheel drive, beautiful interior, super smooth ride, perfect for any road trip that you're going on. And like I mentioned, it's all electric, so that's one of the great things. You don't have to worry about it from a gas perspective. You can check out Sierra Subaru of Monrovia, where their team not only takes amazing care of the customers, but also the community. How many different times over these last couple of months have I talked about different types of organizations that Sierra Subaru of Monrovia is working with? This month, they're working with Little Angel Service Dogs all this month. Again, please go to the website. Take a look at not just the models that they have, but how you can help within the community. Visit sierrasubaru.com. That's sierrasubaru.com.
Sedona.
Hey, ESPN LA listeners, it's John Ireland. You want to play golf with me and corporate Greg Bergman? You can, thanks to Terranea. If you listen to the show, you know Terranea is my favorite place in the world. It's like going to Hawaii without getting on a plane. Well, you can play golf with Bergman and I at the links at Terranea, and then we'll buy you lunch. Here's how you win. Send a video of your golf swing to @ESPN Los Angeles on Instagram or on Twitter. We'll take a look at your golf swing. If you impress us, you'll be playing golf at Terranea with me and Bergman, and then we'll buy you lunch. And you can eat, all you can drink. We don't care. We're not paying.
Alan Sliwa.
Day has the same person dropped off food at your house twice in one day. I don't.
Great question.
Travis and Sliwa
On 710 ESPN.
I have an etiquette question for you guys. You ready? So, Susan and I go out to dinner on Friday night, and we're having a nice night. We had a reservation. We thought ahead the whole thing. We're sitting there, and it's Friday. Our reservation was at 6:30, I think. And we sit there. We have our dinner, and we're finishing up, and we have a little bit of wine left, right? We each have like a full glass of wine by the time that we're done. And the restaurant is packed, and there are people waiting to sit down. And I'm like looking at Susan like, hey, you got to, bottoms up. We got to get out of here. You got to finish that. We got to get going. This is bad form to just be sitting here sipping on wine when there's a line out the door. And she's looking at, we made a reservation. We've only been here we'd only been there, I don't know, an hour and 15 minutes or so. We hadn't been there a super long time. Is it our responsibility to get up and move out, or can we just set up camp there for the rest of the night?
So reservation 6:30.
Yeah, it's like 7:50. It's like 7:30
So
at this
probably
point.
next reservations coming in are 8, right? That's probably the next.
Okay.
The next.
Is that what they do? I don't know the restaurant.
Well,
game.
Mason was telling us that he went to a restaurant and they told him it was a 90-minute limit. for you to
Okay,
sit there. So
but they didn't say anything
No,
like that.
well,
But I felt awkward not eating, just sipping my wine and chit chatting while the restaurant is overflowing with people.
I think if you were there for an hour like you were, you should not feel that way.
Okay.
If you were a buck and a half in and both of you have like no wine left, but you're just sitting having the conversation, I would then be like, all right, let's get out of here so somebody else can come.
I would definitely feel pressured,
I
you
did.
said, to leave, because if you're in their shoes, the people waiting in line, you're
Yeah.
like, this group has been here and they're just drinking wine. What are they doing?
And the waiter was super cool, Christian. He comes by and he gives us a bill. He goes, "I'm not trying to push you out the door. Take as much time as you want," which I interpret of get your ass out of here. That's how I heard that, because hey, you don't have to leave means to me you need to go.
Did you feel by the time you finished your dinner?
Yeah.
Let's say there was nobody waiting.
We've sat.
But did you feel rushed at that time that you ate your dinner? Did you feel like, oh, we're kind of eating it a little quicker? We're trying to.
No.
Okay. Then I think you were. If that's the only thing you don't want, is you don't want to. If I'm making a reservation, I know I'm going to drop X amount of dollars. It's a nice restaurant. I'm not trying to leave early. I'm trying to enjoy my meal.
Yes, you're right, but I'm on Emily's team here. I felt like we got to get going. People are mad dogging me from the lobby trying to get me out of here. 90
minutes, man. You're good.
90's the right number.
And we'd only been there 75.
Yeah, there you go. You
got 15 more minutes.
I want to go back.
It's a whole soccer game, man. 90 minutes, a full soccer game.
What about extra time?
Exactly. That's stoppage time.
That's one more drink.
Hey,
or bottoms up.
Or they just put a clock, a timer right there, right when you sit down.
Like chess. Yeah. So when that hits 0, you got to get out of here. You never have to miss a single moment of 710 ESPN. Just download the new ESPN LA app. Just search ESPN LA in your App Store or Google Play. Download, tap, and bam, you've got 710 in the palm of your hand. Not so bad. One click to listen live, all the podcasts in one place and more. The new ESPN LA app. You can get it today. I want to play this for you. This is from the weekend. Greg came in and hijacked us for a few minutes. This is Juan Soto getting doubled off to end the game on a ball hit to the outfield. He's at first base. The outfielder catches it for out number 2, and Juan Soto is now at third base, and the game ends when they double him off.
High fly ball, deep center field, sending Alec Thomas back at the wall to make the catch. And Soto is at third base, and they're going to turn this into a double play.
Come on.
That's Mark Grant.
Yeah.
So it's Dan Orsillo who does TV with Mark Grant.
Dan Orsillo is really good, by the way.
And the Mark Grant piece of it, saying,
come on.
Saying, come on, is really just it's a perfect description of the Padres. It's not too many times where your home announcers have a really negative thing to say, a negative connotation or whatever the case is. A lot of times because the organizations don't like it. They're the ones cutting your checks. That actually kind of reminded me of a little bit more old school and one of those moments where, you know what, I don't give a you know what. I'm watching somebody and I'm watching a team that is well below of what their expectations were, and there's just a point of frustration. I'm sure a lot of people are watching the game that were also Padre fans are also saying, what the hell are you doing?
Well, I think that's it. I've had enough, and it's entirely organic. It's where?
Yeah, that's it.
It's what? Look, when the ball's hit in the air, you check to see where the ball is, right? And if you get a read that you think it's over, it wasn't like this guy made a 1 in a billion catch and caught Soto by surprise. It was a ball that, as it was hit, he had a chance of catching the ball the whole time. And Soto just puts his head down and keeps going. And Grant's reaction is incredibly organic. Like, what the hell are we doing? The thing that made me laugh a little bit is that it was Juan Soto a week or so ago who said, oh, this team gives up. Every time we get down, we don't grind, we don't fight, that we don't have that no matter what's going on, we always have a way to stay in the game. And you're just going brain dead on the bases to end the game. And again, this was when they were finally starting to play okay, and then they lose to Arizona again. And then the whole thing just comes unraveled immediately again. And this is your best player or close to it, a guy that you're deciding whether or not you want to sign to a long-term deal. And he makes a mistake that a little leaguer you'd get frustrated with him.
That's probably the worst part about it, too, is because when he was vocal about the team giving up, in my head, I'm like, I wish this was a month ago, but that's fine. Okay, the team's given up, and he's kind of, here's a player that it sounds like he's all in, whatever we can do to win, and he's the guy, like you just mentioned, not paying attention. Well, what happens next time he says, well, we're giving up. How come you guys aren't trying? There's a little bit of, bro, from you were just – you also haven't been the greatest example. I'm not telling you the guy can't get on base. He walks every other at-bat. He's one of the best hitters in all Major League Baseball. But do you remember us saying that Arizona was absolutely cratering?
Yeah.
They've won 7 of their last 10.
How many were against the Padres?
They played the Padres 7 times of those 7-10. Now, they didn't win every one, but they took 5 of 7 from the Padres, and now they're 1 out of a wild card. Literally, the San Diego Padres got the Diamondbacks right back in line.
The craziest part of all is the Padres aren't even totally out of it yet. That's how bad the National League is. The Dodgers beating the Marlins 2 out of 3 helps the Padres in an odd way.
Look, Cincinnati and Arizona all are 64 and 61, and they're all 1 game back for wild card. If the Padres, and I'm just using the Padres as an example, you could put Mets in this category before. If I told you before the season, all you got to do is be at 500.
Yeah.
And if you're at 500 by almost September 1st, you're within a game, 2 games of a wild card spot. Take that to the AL. AL to get in, the Blue Jays are on the outside looking in. They're 13 games over 500. There's a 10-game difference.
It's a much better league on that half. And then you've got the Angels over there, too, which we'll get to at some point. Oh, somebody's got my back here. Let's go to San Pedro and Brian. Brian, you're on with Trav and Slee. What's up?
Hey, Trav. I just want to let you know, don't ever feel rushed when you're sitting at a restaurant, okay? You made a reservation. You take as long as you want. If somebody's giving me dirty looks from outside, I think I'm a little hungry for dessert now. That's how much longer I'm going to stay. Okay? It's much like a parking spot. When you're returned to your parking spot, you get back in your car, you turn on the engine. If I need to send a text message, if I got to set up my directions, I don't care if someone's outside waiting for me. You're going to wait as long as I need to take. That's it.
Thank you, Brian. Brian's much more courageous than Susan and Brian would get along fine.
I was okay with Brian up until the parking where he's got his foot on the brakes.
Go.
Right? He's like ready to put it in reverse. So now I'm thinking, okay, hey, yeah.
And it's worse when you got to go to the restroom.
No. This guy's coming out. He's coming out. No, he's on his phone scrolling through TikTok or doing whatever he does. Come on, let's get out of the parking spot.
Yeah, it bothers me. I get somebody looking like, you're going to just sip? It's Friday night at 7. You're not going to pick up the pace? Really? You're just going to sit there and do nothing? Really? Now I got to lean into it. I'll take order the souffle after everything's done. It takes 45 minutes.
That is very divisive because I think you'll probably have, like, population-wise, there's this person that's like, hey, we got to get out of here. And there's a lot of the other people like,
you know what
this is my money. I paid for it. I'm sitting.
It's me. I can envision, and I don't have a ton of empathy in this sense usually. I don't want to be the other guy waiting. Like, can you just take that last sip of wine and get the hell out of there? Like, I would notice that guy, and it would bother me. All right, Mookie Betts, MVP on the Dodgers or in the league? That's coming up next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN.
It's Travis Rogers, Alan Sliwa. Travis and Sliwa.
But do you think it's the right move? Do you think it's the right strategy?
No. Live from LA Live on 710 ESPN.
The yeah keeps catching me by surprise, Jorge. I'm not going to lie. I'm like, usually I need to take a deep breath. I need to collect my thoughts, and then I need to go for it.
Sometimes
now it's too late.
Well, here's what happens. Sometimes during breaks, we say nothing to each other, or we don't breathe,
or walk out,
or we don't breathe and just keep talking. We talked that entire break.
We did. We had a nice conversation.
And then the music came on. We're like, huh? What happened?
Yeah! Out of left field. There we go. There it is. I got it in there one way or the other. It is the Waba Grill Lunch Hour on 710 ESPN. Thanks to our friends at Waba Grill. You've got to try Waba Grill's new Asian-inspired Boom Boom Taco Trios with your choice of chicken, ribeye steak, or shrimp. Visit your local Waba Grill location or order online for pickup or delivery at wabagrill.com. Waba Grill, eat smart, be healthy. Sounds
Order
good.
a couple of those tacos right now.
Yeah, I mean, let's get the trio. You have the steak, I'll have the chicken, and we can find the shrimp for somebody else. Or we should order like 3 of them so we all get 3 along
Greg
the
can
way.
use his DoorDash, whatever he's using. Come on. Greg was using it all day yesterday.
I made a pot of Cioppino last night. I made enough food for about 45 people. There were 3 people home last night.
Oh, so enough for us?
It doesn't keep, Em. I swear I thought about it, and it just does.
Sure.
It's got fish in it. It's got shrimp and clams and scallops.
Sounds lovely to have.
It was
at
delicious.
10 a.m.
I did a really good job on it, but I don't know if you want clams that have been sitting around for 24 hours.
Well, you never know until you ask.
We're just microwaving all day.
Yeah. Microwaving mussels and clams at work. I don't think that would go. It was pretty good.
Hey, one of the mussels exploded in the microwave, so
that sounds
a little bit
dreadful.
of everything everywhere.
It was pretty good, Slee. It's pretty good. I'll have to show you the picture.
By the way, that's a good mix. And the fact that you do that and you know how to do it, that's a great thing to have in your back pocket.
So it was basically my version of watching 10 hours of Suits yesterday. That I decided, Susan and I decided we weren't going to do anything.
Much more
right?
efficient 10 hours.
And we said, you know what? I said, I'll cook tonight. Do you want to do this? And she goes, she loves Cioppino. I love Cioppino, but it takes some time. It's something you got to put together. You got to go to the fish market. You got to get all the pieces together. So we did. A couple of trips to the grocery store, one to the fish market. We got it together. Greg watched 10 hours of Suits. That's how it goes together.
Stress-free. You don't have to worry about anything.
Not too bad. Oh, my gosh. How about, was it Friday night, Em, or was it Saturday night, the Angel thing that I texted you about? Friday night.
This is the 6-5. Oh, no, this is the extra innings.
This is the extra inning loss.
Yep.
They ended up losing by 3 or 4 runs.
9-6, I think, yeah.
We should play what they did to that sound.
Let's just put this together. Both of these things happened on Friday night, a game in which the Angels ultimately lost.
The 1-0 to Shohei. Swing and a drive out to right field. That one's got a chance and it's gone! Grand slam! Shohei Ohtani!
That's cool.
The next 1-2 pitch home, another fastball hit on the ground to shortstop. Renhefo to Drew. They get the double play. Here comes Diaz trying to score. He's out at the plate! Wow!
A triple play. That was a triple play in the 9th inning.
Jeez.
They hit a Shohei Ohtani, the most transcendent baseball talent to ever walk the face of the earth, hit a grand slam. I believe it's his 43rd home run of the season, I think.
Put him up 5-1.
Give him a 5-1 lead. They turned a triple plays. If you get 5 in baseball in a season, that's a lot for the whole league. Grand slam, triple play, and you get blown out in extra innings. Welcome to the 2023 Anaheim Angels season. I couldn't stop laughing. It's like, you got to be kidding me. That it's gotten to the point where you're hitting slams and turning triple plays and losing decisively.
They're
in
8
extra
and a
innings.
half out of a wild card now.
They may be the most unlucky team, do you think? So John Heyman tweeted out this weekend that the Padres are the most unlucky team in baseball. And he's like, don't come at me in the responses. Obviously,
I wonder what his angle is. Why is he thinking they're just not a good baseball team?
It was off of that when Juan Soto almost hit the grand slam to beat the Diamondbacks in the earlier part of the doubleheader.
Yep. Yeah, I have no sympathy towards teams that are supposed to be good and are not good. I don't call that luck.
I don't either.
think, and you have baseball's such a good example too. Like NFL, you play so many limited games that you can have 2-3 games just
a bad call
didn't go your way.
Pass.
You're out. Like there's a good chance that could be a difference. You play 162 in baseball. That I have a difficult difficult time sympathizing with bad luck for that. The Angels, do you remember, Em? I think you were on vacation at that point, and it was the trade deadline had just ended, something along those lines. And there was a point we're sitting here. Who'd they play the first game? Maybe it was the Yankees that they played first.
Braves, I think.
Or actually, it was Braves. They took that first game against the Braves, and now they were 2 or 3 out of a wild card. It was like very doable. Since then, that's not a long time ago. They're 8.5 back. That's not luck. That, in my opinion, has nothing to do with luck. I just think you're not a good baseball team.
Since the All-Star break, since the trade deadline, the Angels have the worst record in Major League Baseball.
That's not like 4 and something.
They were 4-12 when I saw the stat. Worse than the Oakland A's. Okay, worse than the Kansas City Royals. Worse than the Colorado Rockies. The worst teams in baseball. They had the worst team since the trade deadline.
Who has the best?
The Dodgers have the best. I was reading something over the weekend that said the talking about the Angels and how they've been incredibly unfortunate with the injury bug this year. They've lost the second most player games in all of baseball, and that's explaining why they're in the position that they are in part. You know who's lost the most? The Dodgers. They're in first place by 11.5 games. So you get hurt. It happens. You lose guys. It happens. There was a piece on ESPN.com this morning ranking the minor league systems 1 through 30. Okay? You know where the Dodgers landed? 6th. 6th best. They pick at the bottom of the draft every year. They got the 6th best minor league system. The Angels, who pick near the top of the draft every year, you know where they were? 28th out of 30. This is not bad luck.
Well, I could sympathize more with the injuries, and I think any time we compare the Angels to the Dodgers, it's literally the best restaurant in the country versus it's a fast food restaurant.
Okay. It's
a fast food restaurant. I almost like when you throw those stats out, they're so much more superior. Now, it's an even playing field up until it's not. It's not when it comes down to the ownership. It comes down to who's running the organization, everything else. But that's just incredible to hear that. I did not know that 1-2 that you just mentioned, the Angels and the Dodgers from an injury perspective, how many days missed based on some of their key players.
The Angels traded away their best prospect, a catching prospect that they sent out for Lucas Giolito, and they're done. It's over. It's the same thing over and over and over again. That's not bad luck. That's bad management. That's running it poorly. When you pick near the top of the draft, your minor league system should be about where you pick. If you pick first, you should have the best. If you pick 30th, you should have the 30th best.
Sure.
And then some fluctuation in there. The other teams at the bottom, Atlanta and Houston. You know why? Because they're really good.
Sure.
And they're picking at the bottom over and over again. The teams at the top are teams like Baltimore, who pick near the top of the draft every year. It makes perfect sense until you look at the Dodgers and the Angels, and they're in the wrong spots.
It's a perfect example of that. Trade deadline, Lance Lynn coming over.
Yeah. Worst ERA in baseball. Literally. And he hasn't lost a game since he's pitched for the Dodgers. It's extraordinary. A triple play and a grand slam, and you lose the game. Just couldn't believe it. If you're Ohtani, are you looking at this and saying, because remember he had the dead arm, right? They skipped his start when they were in Texas. So are you looking at this saying, you know what, we're not going anywhere. This thing's over.
1,000%.
I'm going to shut myself on them. I'm going to take my at-bats. I'm going to do that because I could hit 50, 55, maybe if he gets smoking hot, 60 home runs. But I'm going to shut it down on the mound. We're not going anywhere. What am I doing here?
Can we say this, that by the time we get to September 1st, 10 days away, whatever it is, right? By the time you get to September 1st, can't at that point Shohei just say, guys, we're 10.5 back now. We're 9 back. We're 8.5, whatever it is.
Right. That's crosses your mind. I mean, he just missed a start with arm fatigue.
Can you make a case for me why he would pitch in the final couple of starts?
Spirit. That's what I got for you.
But isn't competitive spirit fall with? There's a point to there's nothing competitive left in their position.
I'm with you. You know, maybe until
diminishing returns.
If you're not dead, you still got a chance to never give up until there's literally no maybe. But I'm about to go into market and be worth $600 million, $700 million, $800 million, whatever the number is.
And my team is out.
My team's done.
You know, I don't think that ever crossed his mind. If they're sitting here today and they're 3 back of a wild card, would never cross his mind. I don't care about the 600. I don't care about any of that. But if you're 9-10 back,
of course,
with 30 days left,
and if you're one of the teams that's going to be bidding on him, and you're, and again, we're talking probably 4 or 5 teams tops that are going to have the resources to pay him what he's going to need to be paid. Doesn't turn you off.
What's your 4 or 5?
Dodgers, the Giants, the Mets, the Yankees, the Cubs, the Braves, the Mariners. So that's 7. But if the few facts we know are accurate, you can almost take the Mets and the Yankees off the list. He doesn't want to play in the East Coast. The Cubs, it's not the East Coast, but it's not the West Coast either. So you're talking Seattle, San Francisco, L.A. I guess if you want to throw the Angels, I'd be stunned if he went back at this point. So you're talking 4 or 5 that have a legitimate shot at it. If you're the Dodgers and he shut it down, I'm not thinking, well, hey, should we be worried about his arm? I'm like, dude's as smart as I thought he was. That's it, right?
And Angels are as bad as they thought they were. I will say that if I'd have broke any scenario out for you this year for the Dodgers coming in, could you have asked? Literally, I don't think you could have asked for a better way for things to play out in the Dodgers' favor this year. You got the Angels that showed again they are not a good, well-run baseball team, even when they say, F it, and we're going to take every chance and get rid of any prospect that we have. That's number one. They've showed that. They showed Angels didn't trade him.
No.
So he didn't also get an opportunity to go play somewhere else where they got to wine and dine him for 2 months or something along those lines, where now all of a sudden it's like, hey, he could potentially go to another team. I'll throw out another one at you. The Mets were a fire sale at the trade deadline. So if the Mets were a team that, wow, look how good they are, Steve Cohen's the owner of this, the Padres are an embarrassment. Even the teams that you felt like there could be some competition to, and I think the last one here, the Dodgers are on pace to win 100 games, and they didn't make any big moves in the offseason. Could you have asked for a better scenario?
No.
I don't think you could have.
No. And that's why I think that
they kept all their prospects, everybody.
The only thing that you could have asked for that would be more and not taking anything off the table that you said, I'm only adding to the table. You'd want the Mariners and the Giants to both be bad, and they're not. The Mariners are as hot as anybody. By the way, Julio Rodriguez had 17 hits in 4 games. That's a major league record. 17 hits in 4 games. It's a record. That's a lot. That's a lot of hits in 4 days.
Bogarts has 18 hits total for the year. All right, that's enough.
17 hits in 4, and the Giants are in a playoff spot too. You'd want both of them to be in disarray, and they're not. But that's it. Everything else is spot on.
Yeah, the only thing I would say to that with the Mariners and the Giants, the fact that neither of them were able to make a trade for him, I don't know. I just kind of feel this. If the Angels said, hey, we're open for business, we're not going to go anywhere, it's a good chance if he lands with the Giants. I don't know. Is he deciding that he wants to leave again and go somewhere else after 2 months with them?
Maybe not.
Or 2 months with the Mariners. But you are right. The Mariners can sit there and make a case. We're very competitive right now with the team that we have. The Giants can also say, look at our history. We've got a great history as well, and we're ready to go, whatever the case is. But the Dodgers still the class.
I'm going to have you psychoanalyze me when you come back. I need you to tell me if I'm seeing the world as it is or if I'm seeing the world through a very specific lens. That's coming up next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN.
dropped off food at your house twice in one day? I don't know.
Great question.
Travis and Sliwa.
On 710 ESPN.
Remember how you said last week that you had, I don't know if you want to call it a poor choice, but you were full for a couple of days because you're in and out?
Yes.
Decided on Saturday night, really good time, like around midnight or so.
Tell me more.
It's a good time. Let's go get a burrito. Just something
let
light.
me guess. Asada.
Of course it was.
Come on.
You're okay.
Yeah, California burrito.
Can I ask a qualifying question?
Yeah.
Was this after you had spent time with your IPA buddy?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay.
We actually did this one. We did this one well. We took an Uber to the taco shop.
Okay.
And when the guy came and picked us up, I said, all right, buddy, just so you know, going to a taco shop. If you're okay with it, can you wait for us there? And, we'll take care of you. He's like, absolutely.
I got you some tacos, yeah.
He actually told Reyes Agay, I'm like, so what are you eating? He's like, 5 roll tacos. Cool. Anything else? No. All good to go. So it was a good
barter
business
system.
You didn't want to like Uber Eats this instead, so you could stay at home and then have someone else drive it to and from?
No, because we were leaving a bar and we were just getting picked up straight from that bar over there.
By the way, I love your plan so far.
Okay.
I love this.
It was all.
Plus, you didn't want Tyler in the couch.
There was a lot. Trey.
Trey.
Oh, Trey.
I didn't think of that. You're right.
Well, Trey's with me at this point, so I still had some maneuvering to figure out from there. I know, right? So we get to the taco shop and we order. I've told you this before. The California burrito. If I'm in San Diego, I'm usually going to get California burrito. It's just really light: carne asada, French fries, guacamole, pico de gallo. Just very light. Go get
and a giant tortilla. Let's not leave.
Yeah, you could run a mile after that.
I'm not lying. I'm not lying. It's one of those where you eat half the burrito. You're good. Like, you're good. I'm telling you, you're good.
You can't see his face, but Travis is not believing you necessarily.
It was way too big, okay? You eat half the burrito.
Again, okay.
Went out, got, I'm for me, the salsa verde.
Sure.
But I also get the kind of the really hot red, the red salsa as well. So I got both. I kind of doing a combination, kind of every bite.
I like everything about this.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. Except the asada, but keep going.
Got about halfway. By the way, can I tell you something about the carne asada? What they did with the carne asada? I was looking at him. I wasn't looking at you. I was looking at you. No, I was looking at you.
Look at this guy looking at
I looked at you, but then when you said no, I quickly turned over.
Tell me more.
Who cares?
Little crispy on the carne asada as well.
Been sitting there for all day. That's why.
No, they were taking care of it.
No, it's been sitting there.
Might have. We were there late.
He'd had multiple IPAs at this point. He doesn't really care.
We were late. Got about halfway through the burrito. And very easy decision from here. I'm like, that should probably do it, right? Nope, didn't do it. Ate the entire thing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still full today.
Yeah.
You know how you were talking about you need like 48 hours
to you need a reset.
I woke up in the morning and I'm like, I don't know. I have a small child in my stomach here.
A food baby.
I have a food baby sitting in my stomach.
You have an asada
Pretty
hangover. It happens. It can be, but it's entirely worth it in the moment. That extra 10 minutes it took you to eat the second half of the burrito, how glorious was that?
It's amazing.
Just it's like you're just
but by the end,
air.
the end of the burrito, like the last let's say 4 or 5 bites, it was like work.
Yeah,
like I was so full.
Now.
Yeah, I was so full. I'm like, come on, man, you could do this.
Muscle through.
You could get through it.
I like that. What'd you have the next day? Did you just have a nice salad and go for a long walk, or how did you shake it off?
I still probably. I didn't have Mexican food, but I still got some other food in.
I did not have the meltdown on Saturday night. I was strategic.
After
planning.
the game?
Yeah, you had some Albertsons sushi.
I had my Albertsons sushi
he
here.
forgot soy sauce.
I did.
Yeah, so
that changes everything.
Can I tell you something? I also forgot to get they have the chopsticks in the little basket when you go and get them. I forgot to grab a set.
Oh, yeah, just use your finger. It's grocery store.
I had to use it with a fork and a plastic fork. It kind of ruined the experience.
I would have, before a fork, I would have gone fingers.
I
would have gone fingers.
But I didn't have anything to dip it in.
Got to have soy sauce.
I know. I made a mistake.
Yeah.
I went through every drawer in
nothing.
this place.
You have ketchup and...
There's 8,000 packets of ketchup.
Coffee creamer.
Do you know what there's in there? There's a million ketchups, a few mustards, a handful of hot sauces. There's a handful of mayos in there. Mm-hmm. I've never seen this in a condiment packet in my life, except for it's over there.
The hot sauce?
No. Ranch dressing in a condiment packet.
That's not good.
Tell me more.
No.
Emily, help yourself. It's over there.
Shouldn't that be in the fridge or something?
No, because the mayonnaise, I think as long as it's not open, if it's sealed, you're okay in that regard. But yeah, I wasn't going to put ranch dressing or ketchup on my sushi.
So you basically got a pretzel with no cheese.
It was a little dry.
That's
Jorge.
as close of a example as we're going to have.
I had the wasabi. I had the ginger.
But he didn't have the choice. His option, or he didn't make the decision to say no soy sauce. My girl made the decision of no cheese.
No, did it come up this weekend?
No.
No.
I think it's.
You guys have moved on. Is it?
She hasn't talked to me since.
I think did Kirk not eat the entire time? Because I don't think I remember him eating dinner.
Oh.
So he just went from 4 to midnight nearly without eating?
Maybe,
Come on, Kirk.
Maybe. You had the wrap. I
Yeah.
had the sushi. Yeah. I also had
It's actually
a Coke the size of my forearm.
Technically, it could have been a burrito because it was a closed-off
You're right.
wrap.
Well, we need definitions. There's a reason these things have definitions. All right, Slee. Is this me being a delusional Dodger fan who wants this to be true?
Mm-hmm.
Or is the decision that Ohtani is going to have to make this offseason on where he goes next as obvious as it appears to me? Because there is not a box that the Dodgers don't check. There are other teams that check some of the boxes, but I don't know if there's a team that checks all of the boxes the way that the Dodgers do. Is that just me being a Dodger fan who wants it to be true, or is it as true as I think?
I think I can help out with this because clearly, and I've said this plenty of times, I'm a San Diego Padre fan from San Diego. I'm going to take my Padre hat off for a second. And if you said, what's the best landing spot? And probably what you really don't want to see from a competitive perspective of you already are the best well-run organization in Major League Baseball. That doesn't justify the Dodgers having moments that I know are excruciating for Dodger fans in the playoffs. It doesn't justify making a comparison of the Atlanta Braves in the 90s where they won World Series and kind of this Dodgers run where they've been successful so long but they've cashed in one time, and even the one time they cashed in,
it's different.
You're saying that it is different from some of the other World Series. If what you want as Shohei Ohtani, if you're saying, hey, I want to win, well, the Dodgers have shown with this group for 11 years in a row they're going to win. Okay, I want to be on a team that also has incredible amount of flexibility and are also cropping guys left and right that they can bring up, not just for this team that I'm on, but also at a trade deadline to make the team even better. Check that box for the Dodgers, and the amount of guys that they brought up just this year.
It's crazy. In
Outman, in Bobby Miller, in Sheehan, in all these guys this is supposed to be the year that's supposed to be a little bit more of a
reload.
A reload, as you call it. Okay, you could check that box. Am I in a market where I'm not going to get buried because there either just isn't that much national interest with this team? No, I'm actually in the number 2 market in the country, and I'm on a very, very prestigious organization in the Los Angeles Dodgers. You can go down the list. It's a very... Okay, now let's go to the finances. Are they not going to give me the amount of money that I'm looking for? Or even if another team, even if the Mets are saying, whatever the Dodgers pay you, we're going to pay you $10 more million a year. I want to be on the West Coast. Money's not going to all in all be the end of it. I'm going to make more money than you can possibly make. I have a very difficult time thinking that if I'm Shohei Ohtani, I'm not saying of all the options out there, tell me what the disadvantage is for the Dodgers. I hate to say this one, but I'm going to throw it in there as well. They're also a team that didn't win 3 or 4 World Series in the last 10 years.
I think it's incredibly important.
So that I could potentially be the missing piece where if I did come there and you did have success, a lot of the credit's also going to go to Shohei.
So you brought up a lot of good stuff right there. I think the disadvantages of Los Angeles, they are what they are, right? If you don't like L.A., there's not a lot of things you can do to make them go away. They just are what they are. If Trey Turner didn't want to be in L.A. for a variety, you can't fix that. There's no sense that that's part of the calculus of what Ohtani's going to do. But I kind of want to flip it. If you're the Seattle Mariners, if you're the San Francisco Giants, tell me what do they have that the Dodgers don't? What can you sell that, hey, listen, you don't want to be in L.A., you want to be here because here's what we have. What is the box that gets checked in Seattle or in San Francisco that's not being, because they're both big cities. They both got similar problems of big cities that we have here in Los Angeles. But what are the advantages that they have?
The original Starbucks.
Okay. Maybe he really likes coffee. Maybe he likes rainy weather. Okay.
I will say this. There might be something to the... Let's say he says, this could... If there's one thing that the Angels can hurt the Dodgers in, if there's one thing that he says, I've been in Southern California for 6 years. Like my entire life so far in the United States has been in this market. I know it's not the LA market, but
Close
it's
enough.
within 45 minutes. Could it just be, I want a new scene. I want to change I want to completely change the landscape. Maybe there's something to this and probably not. I just played for the Angels for 6 years. Do I want to represent a team that's just 45 minutes away? I'd rather just kind of start with a clean slate. And the Giants, like you said, Giants are a team that you can sit back and say, we're a well-run organization. Yes. This is a great market as well. You will dominate the Bay when it comes to, it doesn't matter, Steph Curry, this, all these other, you're on that list with all these guys, if not even more exposure because of the Giants. Mariners, the only difficulty I have with the Mariners, they were good last year, they're good this year. The window is so small of how long they've been successful for, but you might be making the pitch of,
we're just getting started.
You're coming in at the right time. Imagine what we are with you.
The part you mentioned about the market, I think, is fascinating. I never thought of it like this. In L.A., you can do as much or as little of that as you want. No one's really going to care. LeBron James is here. Anthony Davis is here. Aaron Donald is here. Clayton Kershaw is here.
Sure.
There are so many. Lincoln Riley is here.
Yep.
Caleb Williams is here. He'll obviously be moving on, but if you don't want to be the center of attention, you don't have to be here, right? That he's going to have to do the things he has to do because he's Shohei. But you could, in Seattle, tell me the next most famous athlete in Seattle.
Nothing.
Nobody.
Nothing.
In San Francisco, you've got Steph Curry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? All right. That's comparable, but that's one other guy.
Purdy.
Right? The Niners are popular, but they don't have that. Kittle, okay. Kittle, McCaffrey, Ohtani.
But I was just going to say, it's just like, even listening to all those names, it literally doesn't mean anything.
Here, I don't want to do that. You don't have to. I don't want to do it for the... Okay, fine. Send Kershaw out there.
I don't know. I think Shohei is such a big, gigantic name. You put him in a Dodger jersey, I mean...
And they put LeBron in a Laker jersey. I mean, it's...
But LeBron in a Laker jersey was as powerful as that was. You're taking the most popular player in the sport, and you're putting him with the most popular brand in the NBA. That's a combination of, like, what the hell? Like, that's as powerful as it gets.
He can't avoid all of it, but it's not like if he were in San Diego or Seattle or even San Francisco to a degree, Arizona, where there's only so many of these guys. This is a galaxy of big names. There's nothing but big names here. You could do as little here as you could do anywhere else. In New York, they care about it too much. Here, it's like, he didn't want to. Okay, cool. We just keep it moving. We don't even think about it too much.
He might be the exception to the rule. That if he's rocking, I don't know. So? I just envision in my head, like, if Shohei Ohtani is taking the mound and it's the San Francisco Giants in town, and I know what you're going to say, but I'm just saying that I wouldn't be able to get my eyes off of that. And I think there would be this just complete surge of that combination, that power, that's got to be the most...
That's not what I was getting at specifically. I'm talking about the stuff off of the field, off of the court, that you could kind of blend in if you wanted to. Not invisible. You couldn't be anonymous the way that you can with the Angels, or that's the number one invisibility because you're in a big city that on a team that no one's really paying much attention to. That he doesn't seem to love that sort of attention, the off the field kind of stuff. When he takes the mound, there's no avoiding it. When he gets in the batter's box, there's no avoiding it. The pressure that comes along with it. And I think you brought up another great point, too, which is this isn't a team that's ripping off. This isn't the Yankees with Derek Jeter, right? This isn't a team that won 4 or 5 World Series in a relatively short window of time. This is a organization that's been great, but there's just not quite what you need to get over the top. All he can do is put them over the top, and he gets all the credit. It's not like, well, yeah, I mean, but no, we haven't gotten over the top. We got over the top once in a 60-game season.
Much more disappointments over this 10, 11-year window. That I hate to put it that way because to be that successful over this many years, But at the end of the day, a Dodgers organization, did you cash it in or did you not? There's more disappointments than there are. You won a World Series or you didn't.
They've gotten to the point where just being good is not good enough. You have to win the whole thing more frequently than they are, and they're not. We got some phone calls like this that I want to get to as well. Plus, Stetson Bennett had the rookie quarterback moment that you knew was coming. That's coming up. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN. Tell you who's not a rookie. Rotolo Chevrolet. You don't win Dealer of the Year 13 years in a row if you're a rookie. That's what Rotolo Chevrolet has done. You're not number one in sales volume year after year after year. That's what Rotolo Chevrolet has done. And they do it by having an unbelievable selection. The make and model you want, they got you covered. The price, they've got you covered. The customer service, you're only going to find it at Rotolo Chevrolet. Transparent, courteous, efficient, upfront. You're going to love it. You're going to tell your friends. You're going to ask yourself, why have I ever bought anything else anywhere else? I know because I've bought a car from Rotolo Chevrolet. I've gone through the process from the very top, Mike Capozio to Eddie to Armando to Michael to Owen to Jabari to all the guys I met, Frank, all the guys that I know out there, just one after the other. They take care of people. Customer service is their number one priority, and they knock it out of the park every single day. Right off the 210 freeway, Sierra Avenue exit in Fontana. If you can't get out there, go online. Same experience online. RotoloChevy.com. ROTOLO. RotoloChevy.com, and tell them that Travis sent you.
Travis and Sliwa.
But do you think it's the right move? Do you think it's the right strategy?
No. Live from LA Live on 710 ESPN.
Never find another like me.
This is the song from the commercial that I've seen 8 trillion times,
Yes,
right?
Capital One, I
Where the
think.
wine overflows the
that's
glass.
not that one. It's
not?
Anti-Hero. It's a different one.
Oh.
This is my least favorite song.
No, it's this one.
It's this one.
It is not this one.
The one, the Capital One commercial?
I am 100%
I
sure
believe
it
you.
is Anti-Hero off of the Midnight's album.
Jorge. This one.
Why do I? Then what do I know this from? I feel like I've heard this.
It's because
a
it's been
billion
I think
times.
maybe it was a commercial a couple years ago. It came out in 2019. Is when this song but it's the worst song that she's ever made.
My favorite. This is my favorite one.
Yeah, now it's my favorite.
Love this song.
It can be your favorite,
I
and
love
that's
this
okay.
Have you laid claim to the ranch packet in the kitchen? Did you go looking?
No,
for
I
it?
have not run
Don't do
into the
that.
ranch packet. I have ranch at
Don't
home.
do
Don't
that.
worry about me.
No, but I know you're a ranch aficionado. Have you
Yes.
ever seen it in a packet?
Yeah, I've seen a packet. Yeah.
Have you? Am I just living
No,
in
I
a
don't think I
ranch
have.
bubble?
Like
No, I
the same
haven't.
thing as like the
Everything's
ketchup
been in
packets,
the,
right? You know?
yeah,
Like, I've seen it in that.
Everything's been in the, like, I think of Jack in the Box, the way they always had them.
The little cup.
Yeah, the cup is the typical way of
Yeah.
doing that, but yeah, I've seen it in packets.
I'm like, oh, classy.
Hey, plastic cup.
Ayo.
Tinfoil lid.
Okay, so what's the difference between
Put this
ranch
down.
and buttermilk sauce or whatever it is? Because you go to Jack in the Box, you ask for buttermilk, and they give you a packet of buttermilk.
I've
Of
never
just
been
straight
a Jack in the
buttermilk?
Box. So.
Huh? Yeah, like you say, hey, I want buttermilk. Like I guess
Buttermilk
that's the
ranch or
yeah,
buttermilk?
ranch.
Oh, that.
Okay, so buttermilk ranch is made with buttermilk instead of
mayo.
Mayo.
Okay.
So it's buttermilk is just the what's left over when you make butter. So you churn it out.
It's
you
bitter.
get the butter and you get the buttermilk. So like buttermilk biscuits, buttermilk ranch. It tastes richer.
It's richer and
Sweeter.
it's got a little bit. My grandfather used to drink glasses of buttermilk. That was something that, and I'm like, he's like, it's good. I'm like, I'll give it a shot. He was wrong. he was.
You tried it.
It does
Yeah.
make
That's
like some
aggressive.
things better though. So it does make I think
It's good
ranch better. It
in
does make
recipes for sure.
biscuits
but a
better.
glass of it. Oh my god!
I would, if Grandpa's
grandfather. I
saying
thought
try
he was-
it, I'm like, sure, Grandpa, I trust you. After that, I'm like, all right. Well,
Here's
that's-
something else he did.
That's over.
He's Southern. He grew up in Mississippi, so he knows some things that he would pass along that I wanted to try. You guys ever tried this? Now I do it more often than I don't. You ever put salt on your watermelon?
No.
Yes.
It's terrific.
Yes, it is.
It
or,
is
or tahini. Oh,
tahini
bro.
too. but-
Tahini, yeah. Tahini, I've done
just
that.
straight salt on your watermelon.
All right,
forget
do the
it.
same thing on oranges. Like cut it in half.
Yeah.
And put salt on your orange. It's game changer.
I believe you.
Yes.
He gave me that one. Okra and black-eyed peas, that little mash thing that I'm like, that looks awful. Pretty good.
Pretty good?
Pretty good.
So he was
Buttermilk?
all good except for the buttermilk.
Not good.
He must have stocked up on milk whenever he had a natural disaster too.
Or buttermilk. There's probably the whole refrigerator in the market is empty except the buttermilk case is full.
Right.
All the grocery stores have all water. Just the milk is gone.
Powdered milk.
Guys,
Water
grab
I get. Water I
grab
get.
some water. Yeah, water is an essential.
Milk will spoil.
Yeah. Well, what are we preparing? We're going for if the
Power
services
goes out.
are out, which
Yeah.
includes the power, which means whatever's in that fridge, you got a day or two tops to
Yeah.
get through it, including the buttermilk Slee. It is the Waba Grill lunch hour on 710 ESPN. Thanks to our friends at Waba Grill. You got to try Waba Grill's new Asian-inspired Boom Boom Taco Trios with your choice of chicken, ribeye, steak, or shrimp. Visit your local Waba Grill location or order online for pickup or delivery at wabagrill.com. Waba Grill, eat smart, be healthy. Let's try a phone call here. Let's go to Costa Mesa and Chris. Chris, you're on with Travis Slee. What's up?
I enjoyed the conversation about Ohtani, and I just wanted to say I hope the Dodgers are going to talk to him in his own language and use like a Japanese approach, because I think Seattle's doing that, and I think that Ohtani thinks in Japanese, and I do business with Korea, Japan, and Taiwan, and I just know that if they speak to him the right way, they have a much better chance of moving him into the Dodger uniform.
Chris, give me an example of what that means. Explain that to me, what you mean by speaking to him in his language, not just in literally communicating in Japanese, but in a Japanese style. What does that mean?
They're very honorific. And the one thing that I know, I've been in meetings with a lot of Asians, if an American is expressing himself in colloquial English, he's going to be very high level. And Ohtani won't pick it up. And his translator may not be able to translate it. So they need to speak to him in Japanese. They have to design the pitch in Japanese language. It should be honorific, and and it should be slow paced.
Thanks for the call, Chris. I would be shocked if they have not considered every possible angle to what this pitch is going to be.
Done their due diligence.
Yes.
Well, and I think those other markets that we're talking about are also very,
of course,
population-wise, high population of Japanese
you looked it
Americans.
up, right, Slee?
So I saw this just on Google that L.A., of those three markets, L.A., San Francisco, and Seattle, L.A. the highest Japanese population.
Okay.
San Francisco, I think, third on the list here, and Seattle, I think New York was next. A lot of that, really just having to do with what's your population in your
It's a
city.
math equation.
So I think there's a good chance that LA is going to win that battle.
And this is kind of going back to what Chris was saying. Here's what would absolutely shock me. I would be blown away if he makes his decision during the offseason and it's not the Dodgers. And when we find out what the decision-making process was, and I'll just pick a team. Let's pick a team that's not in the mix. He picks the Kansas City Royals. Okay? And he lands there, and they say, well, why didn't you go to the Dodgers? And it's, well, they communicated to me in a way I didn't understand. I would be shocked. And I'm not talking about they're not speaking Japanese. Dodgers have had a handful of Japanese players come through. They know how to do that, right? They know how to communicate. And I'm not talking the language. I'm talking about culturally communicate. I would be stunned if they dropped the ball on that. Absolutely stunned.
If I said, and this is just completely guessing, we have no idea at all, what do you think is going to be most important to Ohtani?
Winning.
I think so, too. Like, I really do believe that.
Because the money's coming.
That doesn't mean that there's a market out there that's not the right market, but because they win, he's going to choose that market. But this is different in the sense that there's a few cities I think can give you everything. And I think the only way he says no to the Los Angeles Dodgers is if maybe there's something more specific to it, right? That it's just the Dodgers can fight their fight, but you know what? They were always kind of second or third on that list.
Yep. I think
and
that's
that
exactly
happens. That happens a lot of times
it does.
with free agents.
That you're not my top choice, and my top choice is available. That when it comes down to your ranking, picking a restaurant on a Friday night, right? That, hey, where's the first place you want to go? I want to go there. It doesn't mean that I don't like the second option, but my first choice is available. I'm going there.
Reservations are all they're full. There's no over there. We're going to the second one.
Not pushing you out. Right. It's one of those things that I think about.
Also, just to clean up something from earlier, again, please don't come at me with Taylor Swift things that you think I'm wrong about. I'm not wrong. So the "Me" was used in a different Capital One commercial from 4 years ago when that song was a single.
Yeah, no, we know.
The Capital One Saver card. This current one is Anti-Hero. That's the airport one with the overflowing wine glass and the multiple versions of herself.
And do your research. Like, I don't know what else
I'm
to tell
just saying,
you.
people are coming at me on Twitter.
Here's what I'm
at me.
Jorge, Alan, and Travis know more about Taylor Swift than Emily does. That's my
Can we
takeaway.
not make a big deal about it? Like,
I knew it was Capital One.
Let's not make a big deal about it.
The takeaway is we're Taylor Swift people and
Of
Emily
course.
is not. That's what I've gotten.
It's everybody else bringing it up nowadays. Sorry, guys.
Doesn't know that. I mean, put it to this: if I know that, I mean, Emily, can you really even call yourself a Taylor
I'm just
Swift fan at this
disappointed.
point?
That's the thing is I'm not hurt. I'm disappointed.
Turn in your Spotify top 1/100th of 1% card, or what was the number?
Was it
top 1%.
Top
or something.
1%.
She monopolized. Spotify.
Well, Emily, we'll come back with some dump items, and I will educate you further on Taylor Swift and what else you need to know. It's coming up next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN. If you get hurt in an accident, call the accident attorneys at Sweet James. I really can't say it any more simply than that. If you get hurt in an accident, car accident, motorcycle accident, truck accident, whatever type of accident it might be, call the accident attorneys at Sweet James because they've been awarded best attorneys in America. Personal injury is what they do. Sweet James used to work for the insurance companies. He knows how they operate. He's got the winning record, collected over $1 billion in settlements. What else do you need to hear? I've called Sweet James after accident. My friends have called Sweet James after accident. Family members have called Sweet James after accident. You think I'm turning over my friends and family to Sweet James if I don't feel great about it? Of course not. If you get hurt in an accident, call the accident attorneys at Sweet James. 1-800-9-MILLION. Easy to remember number, right? Say it with me. 1-800-9-MILLION. That's 1-800-900-0000. If you want to go online, you can do that to sweetjames.com. If you are hurt in an accident, call Sweet James.
station in America.
710 ESPN.
At ESPN Los Angeles on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, and Twitch.
LA's mega sports station.
710 ESPN.
Search. Today, yes, it's time for the dump.
All right, so the Rams had their second preseason game on Saturday night against the Las Vegas Raiders. They'll finish their preseason this upcoming Saturday night against the Denver Broncos. They lost the game 34-17. It is what it is.
Same score as the last time.
I know.
That's kind of weird.
It is odd. Stetson Bennett did not look as good as he did in the first game, to be expected, but maybe the highlight of the night was Jake Hummel intercepting a ball and returning it for a pick six. And as it happened, Sean McVay was mic'd up talking to the Andrews up in the booth, Siciliano and Whitworth. And this is what McVay sounded like as Hummel was taking it to the house.
I think so. I mean, he's best once the ball is actually snapped.
Great job, Jake Hummel. That's a hook player. Taking it to the grid, baby. It's a new year, baby.
How about that hook drop? My man Hummel, captain tonight. Oh, man, is that exciting.
Two-score game. And look how quick it flipped.
Jake.
He can't help it.
Great drop, man. That was awesome.
Look at that.
Damn, that was...
This is why it works. Sean McVay's energy is infectious, and it's genuine, and it's authentic. That's not, hey, I know I'm on TV, and I'm going to go do my thing.
Yeah.
It's, I was incredibly excited for Jake. And by the way, instant play identification. Knew exactly what happened. Seeks him out on the sideline. Great freaking job,
He also said some choice words, too.
He had an S-bomb in the middle of it that got edited
Preseason,
out.
it's okay. You can do that in preseason.
He's so incredibly enthusiastic about football. I don't know how that doesn't affect everybody on the team.
Yo, I can see why Amazon offered the money.
Of course.
Oh, man. I had never... yeah.
That was exactly
Jeez.
what I was going to say. You know what it sounded like? The first clip. Forget the second clip because he's actually trying to talk to the player. The first clip sounded like he was in the booth.
Exactly.
It sounded like they're having their conversation. The pick play happens. He takes over. It's his personality and everything else.
Yep.
I literally thought of the same thing. I'm like, damn, that booth's open for him.
It's like
for the next 20 years, whenever you want it.
It's kind of like Tony Romo when he gets a little bit excited, but it's actually, I think, a little more founded and a little better. But we're not going to get, I think, this same version of it when he calls games because he's not going to be as like biased to one team or the other, obviously. But
the excitement, I think that actually, and I know what you're saying. It's his squad.
It's not his
It's
guy.
somebody he knows that's picking six. But there's a little bit of like, there is no. It's just such a perfect flow that you just imagine him in a booth with a headset on.
Counterpoint to this, because I agree with what Emily said. I think that what makes him so interesting to listen to is that excitement, and it's real. If that were a member of the Tennessee
Saints.
Titans, does he feel like that? No. Can he call it? 100%. Will he know why it happened? 100%. Will he end up in TV one day? 100%. All of these things are going to happen. But I think what's most interesting to me is that this is a football coach. He got off on one of his guys making a big play, identifying the play. He saw it. He put him in the right position, and he's invested in this. We have a chance to win the game. One of my guys made a play, as opposed to, well, this is a 3-4 defense, and the guy fell into coverage, and he hit him. I don't have any skin in the game at this point. He has skin in the game both as a coach and as a coach of that team.
He loves the Titans. He would be incredibly excited.
Look at Malik Willis go, right? I just don't feel like he's going to have that level of enthusiasm. But that was terrific. Couple of big birthdays today. Loyola Chicago's run to the Final Four a few years ago introduced
2018.
us. 2018. Is that 5 years ago already?
Yeah, it was when UVA was supposed to win the national championship, and they didn't.
They waited a year, Emily. They made it right later on.
They got their chip.
Sister Jean from Loyola turns 104 today. It's pretty
That's
good.
crazy. 104. You and I have talked about this. I think you've said, I'm more of the one that, hey, I'll go as long as possible. I'll sit and enjoy Price is Right at 10 a.m. and we'll take my chances. I'm down for the Jell-O, the pudding, the whole thing. I'm just let's stretch this thing out as long as possible. I don't know if you're looking for 104 in your.
Let me just put it to you this way: when the wind, we in our backyard butts up against a hillside, and then there's more houses up above us.
So you got the fence, the gated community.
There is a fence in our backyard.
The gated community, and then
there's big eucalyptus trees on the side of this slope. Wind was blowing pretty good yesterday, and they're blowing. When this tree falls, it's coming towards. It's not going to defy gravity and go up the hill. Okay, it's coming my way.
Fell
right,
uphill.
And I'm thinking, if it happens, it happens. What are you going to do? Right? I mean, I'll try to get out of the way, but if it happens, it happens.
You run towards it?
I want to be able to enjoy it. The second I can't move around a lot or my brain is mashed potatoes, I don't need that.
Man, it's amazing.
My sister Gina is still pretty sharp, and
Super sharp.
She's in a wheelchair, but she's still there supporting the Loyola team.
My grandmother, between the years, was as sharp as a tack until she was like 98 years old. I mean, so I'll take that. And she didn't get around super great, but she was still pretty good there. I'll take that.
Yeah,
Wilt
my
Chamberlain,
grandma, 94 right now. Still, I would say, just like you were defining your grandma, kind of the same thing. My grandpa was 94 when he passed.
Would your grandmother tell you the truth when you didn't want to hear it? Because mine would.
All the time.
All yours too, Jorge?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
What would she hit you with?
Just, random stuff like, with kids or, just gotta be like this. Okay, cool.
She would boo me when I was playing sports.
Your grandma did?
Yeah.
My grandma would comment on my physical appearance frequently.
That's always fun.
It's like, damn, Grandma. Jeez, I'm doing the best
School,
I can.
your grades, gotta pick up again. Yeah.
Tell her I'm in my prime. Remember Messi when he?
It was you put on a lot of weight since the last time I saw you. Love you, Grandma.
Gracias.
How you doing? Gracias, thank you.
Merry Christmas to you as well.
By the way, wasn't wrong. She was never wrong. Wilt Chamberlain would have turned 87 years old today if he were still with us. I'm not so sure that it's either him or Babe Ruth, of guys that we just don't appreciate nearly enough because we haven't gotten a chance to see it. And there wasn't a ton of footage. You get that weird, black and white footage from Babe Ruth. Some Wilt stuff along the way, but there's not a single picture or video other than him holding up the little sign of the 100-point game that we didn't get to see it. It's harder to wrap your mind around what it was.
You used to say this because when you used to do pre with Michael back in the day.
Every time.
And any time you got an NBA topic or a conference, or this record was broken, this or that, Michael would always say, and I've learned this over the years, if you don't know what the record is, why don't you just guess Wilt Chamberlain?
Yep.
Because there's a good chance it's Wilt that holds that record.
It's like 95% of the time. If the record includes, there's only 3 guys that have blank, Wilt Chamberlain is one of the 3 guys, right? He absolutely is in there. John, how much more would we appreciate him had we gotten to see it through video or whatnot?
I can't believe you guys just had a whole Wilt Chamberlain conversation without mentioning his most impressive
record
statistic. 20,000 women, according to Wilt.
That's a lot. According to the source. Even
By
if
the way,
that's
somebody
half
did the
true,
math on that and said from the time he turned 15, it would have to be 3 women a day, every day from the time he was 15.
It's a lot of energy.
But I'll tell.
Some days you go 5 or 6, which then
weekends.
True story. I have, obviously I have a lot of UCLA friends. So back in the 80s, a bunch of my friends, there were 10 of them, all girls, went to Gladstone's down in Malibu.
Mm-hmm.
And they're having dinner, and these girls are all cute, all 10 of them. And near the end of the dinner, my friend Tracy asked for the bill, and the waiter says, "Your dinner has been taken care of by Mr. Chamberlain." And they look over at the bar, and Wilt is at the bar, and he just waves, and they go, "Come on over." And Wilt comes over, sits at the table, holds court, and one of the 10 leaves with him.
Okay.
And so after the girl who left him is named Julie. Julie leaves, and Tracy, my friend, says to the waiter, "He's done this before, hasn't he?" And the waiter goes, 3 times a week, every week, and at least one of the girls always goes for it. That was his MO. So I am not writing off the 20,000. I know
John,
mathematically it's hard, but if he does the early serving and then he comes back and does the late serving, Trav,
there's
he only
3
needs
meals
to do
a day.
1 during the day.
3 meals a day.
You go, Wilt.
At the breakfast, he's at a Denny's.
He was dedicated.
he's out there.
Where did Tiger cut Perkins?
Perkins,
He's
yeah.
in Perkins.
Hey, look, he had.
John wasn't impressed with any of the other stats. He came with.
How can you not be
the real
impressed
statistic
with the 20,000? Come on,
It's a lot.
Unbelievable.
Did you watch Goliath, the doc on Wilt that's airing right now?
I haven't.
I think it's on Showtime. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
Oh, that'd be an interesting one.
It's in 3 parts. It
I'd watch
covers It covers his whole life, and
I'm in.
And yeah, you'll love it.
It is on Showtime. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very well. Have you seen it, Em?
I have not seen it, but I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's good. You guys will like it.
He's one of the. It's a little bit Babe Ruthy. Ruth is obviously older than Chamberlain, but those stories that you hear, like, well, that can't possibly be true, and most of them are.
Here's a story that
like that one.
Here's a story that comes up.
I believe Gladstone's.
Here's a story that comes up in the doc. So, Roy Firestone. I'm friends with Roy, and Roy is hosting Up Close on ESPN. And so he walks into a restaurant one night. He's a sportscaster in L.A. at the time. And he walks into a restaurant, and there's Wilt wearing an orange suit with a feather boa and a hat, like a Walt Frazier hat with a big feather coming out of the hat. And Roy walks over to him and says, "Hey, Wilt." Roy Firestone. He says, "Hey, Roy, good to see you." He goes, "I'd love to have you on Up Close if you'd be willing to come in and do it." And he goes, "I got to tell you, Roy, I like to keep a low profile." And Roy got him. He came on the show and he
in
asked
the orange
him about
suit
that.
with the feather boa.
I like to keep a low profile.
Terrific. Let's do a little super crosstalk.
ESPN AM 710 Los Angeles. KRDC AM 1110 Pasadena, Los Angeles.
K256CX 99.1 FM Pasadena, Los Angeles.
It's the greatest segment in LA sports radio history.
Oh my God. When the shows come together for magic on the radio.
It will only grow stronger. Super Crosstalk.
Are we ready for Mason and Ireland to join Travis and Slee?
Super Crosstalk begins. Super Crosstalk presented by In-N-Out Burger. In-N-Out. That's what a hamburger is all about.
It's time for Super Crosstalk.
Oh, there it is.
There it
is.
is. Mason and Ireland back in the house.
Yeah.
Look at here. You guys not only survived your vacation,
Yes.
you survived the hurricane yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yes.
I did something on Friday that I want you guys to tell me whether it's impressive or stupid.
Okay.
And there's a chance it could be both.
Sure.
So, long story short, Lisa drove. We go to Idaho every summer into Coeur d'Alene, and Lisa drove out there a couple of weeks ago
From L.A. to Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah, it took a couple of days. Stopped along the way. Blah blah blah.
Right.
Lisa had to come back for a funeral, so I said I'll drive the car back, and I just said we had dinner Thursday night in Coeur d'Alene, and I said whatever time I wake up in the morning, I'm going, and I'll just see how far I make it, and then I'll get a hotel room and stop. So. You guys know me, I don't sleep. Woke up at 2:30. Immediately.
After how much sleep?
3.5.
Yeah, 3.5. That's good for
Okay. I went to bed at 11. I woke up at 2:30. I said, I'm going for it. So I get in the car and I go. And I'm driving. And I'm pounding iced tea because I want to stay awake.
Right.
And after about 9 hours,
okay,
I look and I see how much time is left, and there are 9 hours left. So I go for it, and I drove straight through 17 and a half hours.
Whoa!
From Coeur d'Alene. I left Coeur d'Alene at 2:30 Friday morning, Thursday night, Friday morning, and got to my house in Manhattan Beach between 10 and 10:30 Friday night.
It's 1,249 miles. I
Right.
just Googled that.
Impressive or stupid?
Impressive.
Yeah, I think it's impressive also.
Impressive.
Yeah, and I promised Lisa, I was talking to Lisa a lot.
How many hours you said? 19?
17 and a half.
17 and a half?
It said 20. It said it was going to take 20, but I gunned it.
Yeah.
I was going fast the
Did
whole
you get
time.
any tickets?
No, I did get one 40-minute delay in Sacramento when there was an accident on the freeway.
Okay.
But other than that, I made almost zero stops. I stopped whenever I needed
Adult
gas.
diapers?
No, whenever
okay.
I needed gas, and then I would go to the bathroom.
Right. Okay.
So you'd go through a whole tank before you'd stop to eat or take a
I
pee
stopped
break?
3 times. I stopped about every 5 hours.
Wow.
And one other time I had to stop, just go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Did you ever
I
feel
pulled-
yourself
matter of fact-
getting sleepy?
Here, no. Matter of fact,
Oh
the
my
one time I had to
gosh.
stop to go to the bathroom, I was kind of in the middle of nowhere. So I pulled off to the side of the road, and I went down around a corner, and I just said, I'll use the great outdoors. And, of course, as soon as I did it, like 3 people pulled right next to me. I'm like, well, they don't know me. Here we go.
Yeah. You'd be the most
Aren't
successful.
you John Ireland from the Lakers?
Whoops.
Whoops.
You'd be the most successful trucker across the
That's what
country.
Lisa said. You missed your calling. You should have been a truck driver.
Long-haul trucker. Exactly.
So now, is that the new normal? Do you just do
I
that
can't
every
decide.
time now?
But I think you have to do it with the caveat that if you get tired, you'll stop.
I can't do 8 is like max.
See, I was driving up to Big Sur one time. I used to go to Big Sur a lot, a place up there called Esalen, and John
Hamm, Esalen,
exactly
into Mad Men.
So I was parked. I was driving by Hearst Castle.
Okay.
Great if you know that area, great spot. And I'm about to enter, the turns and the hairpin turn, all that stuff at Big Sur, and I got pulled over, and the cop said, are you drinking? I said, no, I'm not drinking. Have you? And he gave me a sobriety test. And then afterwards, he said, I think you're too sleepy to drive. So I got a hotel there.
Really?
Yeah, because I was like
Swerving
in and out,
and
swerving and all over. Yeah, I mean, so I get sleepy that way. By the way, I knew this hurricane wasn't going to be anything.
It depends what part of the city you ask.
But I mean, everything named Hilary fizzles out, doesn't it?
You've been sitting on that one for a while?
I've been using it for the last couple of days.
Did you guys have anything at your place? Because we had rain. And
thank you. I'll be here all week.
Moderate
Literally all week.
I'll just say this, Trav. I teed off at 7.
Wow.
I had to bag it after the 15th hole. It got too rainy.
This was yesterday?
Yeah, but I got most of it in.
What about at your spot? Because it's different all over.
It
Dodger
rained.
Stadium was underwater.
It rained super hard. I mean, they were smart, by the way, to do the doubleheader on Saturday, expecting. Now, they moved the LAFC game also to Wednesday from Tuesday night to give them. But, I mean, I think it's over, right?
Well, like the Angels canceled tonight's game because the field doesn't drain very well.
Okay.
So they're going to flip. They're going to do a 3-game series in 2 days. They're going to play a doubleheader on Wednesday.
And it's the only way they could not fall in the standings.
I was going to say,
holding one game.
When Artie Moreno was asked for a comment, said, can't sink in the standings if we don't play.
Yep.
That was one. My favorite moment of the weekend was Ohtani hits a grand slam.
Oh,
the Angels turn a triple play and they lose.
Yeah.
That's very Angels.
That is so amazing.
It's terrific.
By the way, you guys were talking earlier about what you think
For some
Ohtani
reason,
might
an
do.
elephant sound?
That's your elephant sound.
Yes.
Yeah. Wouldn't you think, like, it's impossible for me to have a higher opinion of Shohei Ohtani than I do now.
Me as well.
Wouldn't you think less of him if he re-signs with the Angels?
Yes. And that's why I think there's absolutely no chance it happens. I think it's whatever the closest number to 0 is without being 0, because never say never, right? That's how often.
What if they make the biggest offer?
It's not. First of all, it's not going to be.
Then he becomes Mike Trout.
Right.
I think less of Mike Trout, who I respected as the greatest baseball player I've ever seen until Shohei came along.
Yep, me too.
When he decided, I'll stay in Anaheim even though they don't win.
And hasn't made a
not
peep
putting the
since
pressure.
then.
There's no pressure. It doesn't feel like it.
No, I don't think. The only thing.
But if
we
they
know
go
for
10
sure,
years, $800 million.
But what if the next deal is
the
10
question
years,
Mason is
$600
asking
million?
though is really interesting. If the Angels far and away blow away the field, like for example, Angels offered 10 years, $800 million to use Mesa's example, and the next closest is 10 years, $650. Then I have trouble blaming them leaving $150 million on the table.
It is $150 million.
But I think I would still think less of him.
I would too, because it's $150 million that he's never going to spend. It's $150 million that his family is never going to spend. It's $150 million. I get it. You could endow scholarships. I get that you can use the money for these things. But the only thing we know for sure about this dude is that he's said he wants to win. That's it. That's the only part of his hand that he's tipped is, I want to be on a team that has a chance to win.
Although,
That's
why
it.
did he pick the Angels? Unless he wanted to be not in the bright lights.
Okay, so I think there are 3 things. That's one of them. That he wanted to go try this experiment in a place that was not in the biggest fishbowl in the world.
Right.
He wanted to do
both
by being a designated hitter and a pitcher.
Yep.
So that cuts off half the teams.
Yep.
Right.
Half the we're done.
Unfortunately, now it would have worked. Then it didn't work.
Now it opens it up
You'd
to
have
everybody.
to stake him in left or somewhere like that if the Dodgers
You have
made
to
a
play
run.
him somewhere and as difficult as what he is doing that and playing right field would be even more
Really
challenging
tough,
than
yeah.
it is. And then he wanted to be on the West Coast. So you're basically talking about the A's, the Mariners, and the Angels.
Yeah.
And the Angels seem to be the team that was most willing to embrace
I
the
think you're
experiment from the
sleeping on
beginning.
the Giants.
Well, no,
I'm
he's talking about when he originally made the
original decision.
Yeah.
I think the Giants
so
are
it
in
came
there
down
as
to
well.
3 American League teams.
It came down to the 3 American League teams on the West Coast.
Yeah.
All right,
because
this from our friend Michael Roth, who's a king of all things AEG. I would think more of Ohtani if he signed with the Angels because that shows loyalty to a team and to all of his teammates. Is that part of this?
Sure.
To me, loyalty is a two-way thing, right? You got to help me so I can help you.
But in fairness,
and they haven't.
In fairness, they did everything they could at the trade deadline. Everything from Giolito
trade
and
deadline,
down.
yes.
They
But 6 years prior to that,
right? But does this?
They forgot to build a pitching staff.
Does this represent the future? In other words, does Artie Moreno say 8 years or 10 years, $800 million, and you'll be involved in all of the decision making?
But that's not his job to do
No,
that.
it's not. But he may have preferences.
He may have preferences, but trying to do it is part of the equation, but executing it is the other part. And they haven't been able to. It's been 6 years. This isn't 1 year.
Well, and
6
for Artie,
years.
it's been 20 years.
Right.
So I think you know what you're dealing with there.
You're dealing with somebody that's overly involved. You're dealing with somebody that's impulsive. You're dealing with somebody
who doesn't listen to his general manager.
Look at Jerry DiPoto's doing pretty well in
Yeah,
Seattle.
doing fine.
Billy Epler, this season aside, has rebuilt the Mets with Steve Cohen's money. Perry Manassian, I think, is a pretty good general manager.
Yeah, I do too.
By the way, part of me is wondering, would the Mets make the proverbial offer he can't refuse because Epler signed him the last time?
Mm-hmm.
Epler has been through whatever he wanted, and Epler got it done, and now Epler works for the Mets. The Mets have a fire sale at the trade deadline this year. They don't seem to be winning. But what if the Mets came in at $1 billion?
Well, here's the question. The question is, if you're the Mets, and they apparently are going into it's a little bit like the Rams. I think they're going into a reset, not a rebuild, but a reset.
Strategic long-term plan for continued success.
Correct. And there's a lot of talk that maybe we're not trying to commit. We're not trying to win in 2025. We're trying to win in 2024. We're trying
which
to
is
win
why
in 2025.
Verlander, I think Scherzer, there was a little bit of we can't guarantee you we're going to compete next year.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what they said. So are the Mets. And by the way, I know the West Coast thing doesn't seem like a big deal, but you're adding, if he wants to go back to Japan, you're adding 5-6 hours to what's already a hell of a long flight. So I think that's what makes it a long shot that he goes to the East Coast.
I'll say this, that the loyalty part of it, what more loyalty can he show? He was with a franchise, put them on the map,
fulfilled his contract,
did absolutely everything he can, was very honest at the end of season saying, I want to win.
Yeah.
That I could only do so much. He did more than anybody else can possibly do. If he walks away, is anyone saying to himself, hey, this is not a loyal guy? I don't think anybody says that.
No.
So the loyalty piece, I don't think comes into play.
But the Michael's text and the reason we're talking about loyalty is I said I would think less of him if he re-signs with the Angels. And I think Michael's point is...
But you said if he left $150 million on the table...
It would make me think.
It would shift your brain on it.
I think you hit on the question that makes this the most interesting, is what happens if the Angels are the highest bidder?
Because
he knows what he's getting.
But
I don't think it matters.
And think about this. Artie Moreno, impulsive,
yes,
irrational,
yes.
Isn't he the guy who potentially blows everybody's doors off with the offer because he's in a good mood that day?
The offer could be exponentially more than the next closest person, but I think Ohtani has shown that, number one, the next closest offer is still going to be more money than he could possibly
imagine. Of course,
imagine. The other part of this is, and Al's brought this up a couple of times, and I think it's a great point, Ohtani makes about $100 million off the field.
Right. So he doesn't really need to make this specifically based on money. I just thought of a sleeper team that makes some sense to me. What about the Rangers?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting sleeper team.
Okay, they have a Hall of Fame manager. Mm-hmm. They're on the rise. Mm-hmm. They're having a breakthrough season this year. No state tax would save them millions. It's an easy 2-hour flight from L.A. to Dallas-Fort Worth. Doesn't that make some sense?
Here's the pushback. If I were the Dodgers and he said, I'm really leaning on the Rangers, my response would be, that's great. They are on the rise. They're better than they used to be. We've been the best team in baseball for 12 years in a row.
Yep.
There's no reason we won't be the best team in baseball.
But put yourself in Ohtani's
shoes.
shoes. If I come to you, Trav, and I say California has the highest state tax in the country, Texas has zero state tax. You're going.
But you just said money doesn't matter.
But you're going to save $200 million if you go to the Rangers. Don't you at least have to consider it?
You consider it, but I don't think this is going to be a decision that's based exclusively on where, at the end of the day, who gives me the most
If he
money.
really cares about winning, the money is secondary, right?
It's second.
Yeah,
and the
it's
Dodgers
secondary.
are not going to lowball
And am
him.
I the only one that's going to be devastated if he doesn't sign with the Dodgers?
what I
I mean,
said.
I'm
No.
going to be devastated.
I can't believe that we might be able to next year. I mean, the Dodgers are so fun to watch now. Next year, we could watch a lineup that starts. Like the first three people that come to the plate could be Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and Shohei Ohtani.
Woo!
I mean, come on.
And he's going to pitch every fifth day.
Yeah, exactly.
He's going to pitch with
we talk
Walker
about
Clayton Kershaw, maybe Julio Urias.
We talk about
Shohei Ohtani.
stop what you're doing players. That'd be a stop what you're doing team.
Oh, freeze, turn the TV on, get to the game that night, all that stuff.
I asked him this question, and what you just said makes me think that you're in my boat.
Okay.
John, see if you can be more impartial. Am I just so far down the rabbit hole of wanting that to happen that I think it's going to happen? Or does it seem as obvious to me that that is the best fit for – because they're going to pay him and everything else we've
Right.
talked
I'll
about.
answer you this way. If you were going to handicap percentage-wise where Ohtani goes, let's say 20% to the Dodgers, and that's the favorite.
Okay.
So you go 20% Dodgers, 15% each to San Francisco, Seattle, Angels, San Diego, just because they're on the West Coast. So that's another 60-20. You get 20% other.
In the field.
Or like Mets, Yankees, Red Sox. You just split it up. It's still an 80% chance he signs with someone other than the Dodgers.
Sorry I asked you. I like Mace's
Yeah.
answer.
By the way, the one I'm most concerned about is Seattle.
Yeah.
He actually said at the All-Star break, I've spent a couple of off seasons in Seattle.
And there's a blueprint there with Ichiro.
And by the way, they're also improving.
They are. The Dodgers are improved.
Yeah.
I need to end on thinking that he's coming. Super Crosstalk is brought to you by In-N-Out Burger. In-N-Out, that's what a hamburger is all about. See you tomorrow.